Owls.
Turn on Night Owls.
Public Health England says 29,173 coronavirus cases have been reported across the UK in the last 24 hours. 28 people have died within 28 days of testing positive for COVID-19. Flooding is affecting parts of southern England, with some people in London claiming it's the most severe they've ever seen in the area. Motorists have reported flooding 12 to 18 inches deep while driving through Clapham Common. From Sky News, I'm Kevin Gover.
Greatest Hits Radio.
And now, the forerunner to Facebook, where your words tell 1,000 Instagrams. Use your phone for making that call. And get talking across the northeast, please. Because this is Night Owls with Alan Robson.
Welcome one and all, Alan Robson with you on Night Owls. Thank you for joining me. God blimey, might not have looked like a hot day, but it was, wasn't it? In for another one of those claggy nights. Let's make it a good one, with a lot of smiles per hour. Starting off with tonight's challenge, which is My Family is Weird... Now, we've all got or had weird people in our families. People that just do the daftest things. Like, I've got plenty of examples of this. Like the lady in Lowfell whose child, when he got to the age where he was speaking for the first time, he was speaking in a really strange way. The doctors examined him and found he had 4 full peanuts up his nose. Which I think is going to kind of affect the way you talk somewhat. We had people in your family, like, there's a mum whose mum's name's Iris. Her daughter is Jeannie. And Jeannie says that her mum, Iris, has 2 pillows on her bed. The top pillow is the one she sleeps in, or on. The pillow underneath is full of licorice, all sorts. It's a secret cat hiding place. And now that I'm mentioning this, Iris will now know that Jeannie's known for months and has been taking an awful lot of the coconut ones. That's a fact right there. So just strange things, weird things that members of your family have done. I love this one. Early Doors Duncan's already sent us a thing. When his dad is drunk, he comes home, walks in the house, and then urinates on the doormat. In the morning, he denies it. He hasn't. Don't tell me that. No, of course I didn't. But he refuses to smell the doormat, which of course goes outside and gets the hose pipe on it until it's smelling reasonable again. So, what do you reckon? You got some weirdos in your family too? Just daft things that people do in a family setting. 01914 883 My dad used to, as soon as one of his brothers came in with his Staffordshire Bull Terrier, Sheena, hated it. No matter how nice the food was that me dad was eating, the first thing he'd do is stop eating and put it on the floor so the dog could eat some too. And then the dog's licking away, then me dad would pick it up and then start eating it. Oh, no. And then for the next couple of weeks, we're wondering, every Sunday dinner, are we getting the dog plate? Is this the dog plate we're getting? So, weird things that people in your family do. Let's have some of that. 0191 488 3188. Want all of your stories. Now, remember, your family means your mum, your dad, your nanny, your granda, sons, daughters, brothers, cousins, aunties. Have a thing. Everybody's got a few total whack jobs in their family. We just have. So we might as well talk about it. So dig in and let me hear. Also, shortages on supermarket shelves, costs rising, Brexit problems beginning, maybe. What do you think? And things you hate about your own household, if you want to kind of merge that in with the my family is weird ... It's a cool one to play. You gotta have your say, you gotta get your family in there. Also, 6 million Brits have had their holiday plans scuppered as the government have told everybody that France, Greece and Spain, the three main places that Brits go apparently, are all under an amber alert and you've got to get back, otherwise you're going to have to stay off work and out of the public for another 10 to 12 days. We thought we were so much further on, didn't we? Or did we? I don't know. Did we know it was going to end up in the chaos that it is? The Olympics without crowds, what do you think? Oh, I was watching one. I love the the bouncy bit. What's it called? You know when you're on the horse and you're doing somersaults on the mat and stuff. I love all of that. Nearly said acrobatics, but that's not what it's called. But I love all of that. And I was watching somebody on one of those horses spinning around like you do, with nobody in the arena, and he fell off. And you're thinking, well, there's no atmosphere at all to kind of drive you to be the best. What do you make of the Japan Olympics? Good, bad or ugly? What do you think? What's your view? Antisocial behaviour in our society has doubled due to lockdown because more people are at home, therefore your neighbours are home. Everybody is kind of locked up roughly in the same area, so antisocial behaviour, has it affected you, and what kind of stuff are we talking about? 01914 488 3188. Harry the Prince is on our switchboard tonight. Give him a call. Hollywood McShane in the team too. Producer to the stars. Vaccine passports. You heard about this on the news. If you want to go to the pub, if you want to go to the football, you want to go to the rugby, the cricket, you want to go to a nightclub, you want to go for a meal in a restaurant, you're going to have a vaccine passport. And you've got to be jabbed twice, otherwise you can't get one. Which means that small percentage of the population who've decided that they're not going to do it, apart from also catching COVID, because they're the biggest group at the moment. Late 20s to early 40s seems to be the strand that's on the rise the fastest, they tell us. I'm just not sure. I've never really been sure who to believe with all of this malarkey. But it just means there's going to be a strata of society who can't take part in any of the usual fun stuff. Want to go to the zoo? Ooh, can't do that. You're not double jacked. What do you think about it? 0191 488 3188. I've got a season ticket. You're not double jacked, can't get in. Tough. You lose your money. Full on, man. Full on. Serious rain and hail warnings for the next few days into the middle of next week. Bit of lightning, bit of thunder, bit of hailstones the size of gooseberries. Awful weather to come, so brace yourself. We've already heard those horrible stories of people dying in lakes when the temperatures have been up to the middle 30s, and we're told in some places it's even reached 40 degrees. And did you see that amazing picture of the girl on the slingshot ride in Florida? Zipped up in the air to hit a pigeon, or should I say a pigeon hit her full in the face. She was screaming before it happened. Imagine what it was like. She had to physically pick the pigeon off her, and oh dear. That's not that's not what you want. I must admit, I have gone on most roller coasters, but I've had the opportunity 3 or 4 times to go on a slingshot. Never had the bottle, even though we did do that zip line, fastest zip line in the world, which is like a mile up in the air, which is pretty terrifying. Also, 6 months before the Newcastle takeover will be sorted, they've put it back again. Why? What's that going to do? Just make things worse, make the fans even more disappointed and angry. And a mother calls a priest to bless her house after catching a black ghostly figure on her CCTV, and the figure was in her home. What have you seen and where have you seen it? Always one of those stories. Now, we're talking about that dad who got drunk and whittled on his own doormat. I didn't do that when he wakes up in the morning, but he did. They've even got him, apparently, on tape, weeing on the doormat. Weeing and pooing in the house at any time when it's not in a toilet. I want those stories tonight as well. Dogs do it, pets do it, kids do it, birds do it, and as we've heard, sometimes human beings do it too. Tell me your stories, please. We'll have some of them. And we were told that young people are scared of the freedom that Freedom Day brought. Are they? From what I can see on the streets, everybody's going absolutely berserk. There's a lot of craziness. Hollywood McShane is now doing his other job, DG-fying in places, and he was telling me yesterday there were fights and girls just ripping all of their clothes off and running around. And here he was in the only safe place, which was behind the decks. How crazy has it been out there? Have you been out clubbifying? Tell me your stories too. People have been locked away for so long. It is crazy. Absolutely crazy. When I left the show last week, just driving through town, it's like half a mile an hour because the streets were literally overflowing with people and they were all completely drunk. So tell me your stories, please. 01914 488 3188. Let's get cracking and talk about stuff. Mad members of your family. We want to hear about all of them. Easter's been on as well. And wants a favour. Happy birthday to Daisy Duck. She's listening right now, apparently. Hope that's not rhyming slang. But happy birthday all the same, Daisy. Might be the one that's married to Donald Duck, you never know. Whatever you want to talk about, pick up your telephone. Let's get cracking. We got a lot of people already. We got some stars we're talking to on the show tonight. The likes of Meatloaf, Foreigner, Roxette, and Alison Moyet popping up because the stars come out at night. We are Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. Whatever you want to talk about, that's what we do. Harry's waiting for you. Give him a call right now. But because we're Greatest Hits, we've got to slap you with a goodly number of them too. And we're kicking off with Whitney Houston. Hello everybody, welcome. Alan Robson with you again, and tonight, blimey, have we got something spectacular for you this evening. We have an amazing
trail. We've already, if you're one of our supporters, waiting for you already in the can. We've been to Langley Castle, where we've had a whistle stop tour and an amazing ghost story. Beyond that, we've been to a place where 51 people were killed in a riot, and moving even further away, we've been in search of a death stone that's supposed to shorten your life. What are we doing here? Well, we're bringing you to a place where a border reiver lived. It was his hideaway in the area where he did all of his robbing, stealing, and a bit of treasure to be had too, which is amazing. Treasure that you may be able to come and get for yourself. Who knows? Beyond that, a story of tribal warfare from way, way back. And also tonight is a buck moon, a thunder moon. Now, this is a time when nature and humanity and bats are already flying around our heads. Literally within a foot of our heads, we've had a few tonight. Another one where we're trying to summon them, but they're not playing. They're waiting until we talk about something else. But we are certainly, we've got a lot for you, because we're going to carry out a ceremony tonight. If your luck has been not as it should be, because let's face it, I think it's been a tough and rough time for most of us. Tonight, we may be able to do something about it. First of all, we have Kenny with us as well. I stood him on the death stone. You can see what happened a little bit later on. That's going to be a bonus in our supporters group. Hollywood, Tony McShane is with us. There's the bat. Did you say it? Whoa. Swoopy, swoopy. There it is. Oh, there, there. You see them? Oh, there's loads of them. Do you see them?
Coming out for us.
They're coming out for us. Oh, wow. They don't mind swooping about. There's lots of little bugs in the air, and they come out to eat them. And there's one. Look. Do you see them? The bigger bugs will be well and truly chomped by these things. They're just fascinating. These are little, probably horseshoe bats, because they're slightly smaller than most. But we have a lot of tales to tell, some incredible tales to tell too. So the most important thing is watch every strand, every second. Tell us what you see. These guys have been sprayed with their girly thing again. What is it called?
What's it called? It's Avon Skin So Soft.
Avon Skin So Soft.
We're not getting bitten.
No, well, it just landed on me. It didn't bite. It didn't bite. It just perched.
Oh,
so
you just said a minute ago you weren't going to mention them.
that is a fair point. However, keep an eye open. Let's see what we're going to see. Can't wait. Let's start, because this is scary. This is scary, and I have to switch off the net romancer because I can't cope with that the whole way. Whoa. I think bats is the best way to start something like. There'll not be so many. Down there is a river. The reason that this particular reiver came here was because of the river. Because whenever he was being hunted, and he was hunted often by landowners of this neck of the woods, he would simply go into the river, and the dogs couldn't follow his scent. Now, just before we started, up in this area here, Kenny and I saw a dark figure moving around. This was about 20 minutes ago. And then Kenny said that he thought he saw something light, something white, kind of shiny white. Now, there is actually a story that fits the shiny white thing. And where did it go, Kenny? Talk us through it.
Mine went like from left to right. Just
point your torch at it.
Right, sort of just here, just this area. It just sort of went from left to right across there. In that area.
Well,
it was like a grey, misty. Oh, it sounds silly, but like a Casper. It was like a really Casper shape with a hood.
Now, the thing that makes that so much more interesting is, and Kenny doesn't know this, but Alfwald was king of Northumbria. He was killed here by a man called Seager. And it's said that everybody that came here afterwards saw a white light moving through the woods, and they called it the light of the angels because he was such a revered and good man. He wasn't a Christian, but he was a revered good man who looked after his people. And there's supposed to be this white light that comes through here. And I thought that there was a white light over there, but I think it might just be a gap in the woods where, where the light can get through.
It really did. It just looked like a grey, whitey mist.
Oh, what the hell's that? Almost looks like that's been made into a... Come over here, Kenny. Shine your light through those trees there. Just, no, you passed it.
Right.
Through those trees. Follow my beam.
Right, here.
Not that one, next one along. That way.
That way.
Now, look, stand where I am and look up there. Looks like it's been built into like a shelter, doesn't it?
It is, isn't it? It's like a shed thing.
Like a shelter.
It is.
Wonder who or what's been living in there.
There's one or anything, could it?
Well, we've been told just recently that there's wild cats here. Now, that doesn't mean feral. It means wild cats. So we've got to be a little bit careful if we see any of them. But let's take... Do you hear voices?
I heard voices there.
Just there. Hope somebody...
There's definitely something...
Did you get it as well, Tony?
It's like a chattering.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was back there. I thought I heard it before. It's like...
You heard it before? What is it then?
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was a river before, but I just heard it again, but it's further up.
Yeah, these trees are in a straight line. See how straight they are.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's not normal, is it? Because this isn't even a track up here.
Trees, but like tracking a straight line like that. Doesn't normally happen, does it?
Stop. I think we can hear a train in the distance. I think that's what that is. This will be so easy to get lost in here.
I heard an owl.
Just seen an owl?
I've just heard of one. There.
That's an owl.
That's an owl.
That's a blessing. Having an owl on my sides. An owl is a good thing. Come on then. Whoa. Yeah. I've just had something scuttle past me. It was definitely a critter. This, of course, you've got to remember, we're not far. For those of you who are supporters, you already know a few of the secrets of where we are. Close to Hexham. Hexham, we've already established that it was German from Romans. Check it all out in the supporters group. However, you can win yourself a badge as well while you're on. We've got Night Owls badges for you. We'd love you to win one and be very, very proud. And we would be honoured if you would join our throng. Just share it as much as you can. Share everything that we do.
Share this video and someone will win the badge for this video.
And incidentally, we had a few people switching off because we had stuttering and bad reception at the last thing. I understand why you would do that. However, we're recording it now as well on a separate high definition camera. So if we get the stuttering while we're doing this live, you'll be able to go back and watch the whole thing in HD. And Tony put that on as soon as he gets back. That's how the deal is with that. Do we go down? Do we go up? What do we do?
Well, I would have said down.
I would have said down too. We've got to cross the river, I think. Mind you, it does look scarier down here than it does up there.
That's why I think go.
What did your map say?
I'm not even looking at it. Just walk up by the river.
Whoa.
And with you, let's get some calls on board, and we are starting off with I think it's Lacey who's in concert up in the mountains. Hello, Lacey.
Hi.
Hello there. What can we do for you tonight, Lacey?
So I'm a finalist in a beauty pageant. I'm Junior Miss Diamond Durham, and I'm climbing up Helvellyn on the 31st of July.
Whoa. Well, hey, let's go through that a bit. First of all, what was the first bit? Because you're obviously a superstar in concert. So what exactly did you win?
I haven't won it yet, but I'm a finalist.
Oh, you're a finalist,
so in
right?
August, I'm competing. So
Brilliant. So it's not a race up the hill, because that Helvellyn's a monstrous mountain of a thing. So how does the whole thing work?
So we've been raising money. We're doing it this Saturday, actually, so it's very, very soon.
Right.
we've got £315, I think, so far.
Right.
That we've collected off people,
Excellent.
which is really, really great.
It's brilliant. So, I mean, have you got a target, or have you already passed the target? How's it going?
So our target is actually £500. We're hoping to pass that.
Wow, so you made a great start. So, then on Saturday, you go down to the bottom of a Welsh mountain and do what then?
So we're going to be going from the bottom to the top. I'm going with my mum and my dad.
Right.
And then we're going to go down.
Yeah, hopefully gently enough for you not to hurt yourself in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would hope so. So, you say that you're a finalist. So, how many people are you up against?
I think it's about 10.
Right, and are you all going up the same bit so you can see how other people are doing, or half of them on the other side of the mountain trying from the back? And how does it all work?
So I'm a finalist in a beauty pageant. So this is it's a sponsored walk, and then the money will be going to charity.
Excellent.
Which then goes to my beauty pageant, if you get it.
Yeah, it goes right the way around. So, how do you get to this beauty pageant? Did you apply? Did you get nominated? Because obviously that means that you are exceedingly bonny. Otherwise, you wouldn't have got there. How did you get into it in the first place, then?
I actually applied on July the 2nd, and then I got in, I think, the next day, which was really, really fun. And then I've been raising money, I think, since that week.
No, that's great. So, I mean, was this the first one that you've ended, or have you done this kind of thing before?
No, this is definitely the first one, and I'm really excited about it.
I was going to say, I would have thought that's quite scary. What did you have to do, like send in pictures and hope you didn't have a spot that day? I mean, how does it work?
Well, you had to send in a few photographs and some information about yourself.
Right.
And then, yeah, that's all you had to do, and some little information like interests and that kind of thing.
Right. And then to become a finalist, how are you judged then? I mean, do you have to go live and parade up a catwalk? Or what do you have to do to get into the final? Or did they just put you in the final?
They put you in the final.
Right.
So, and on August the 22nd, we all go to Southport, which is ages away from where I live. And then we stay in a hotel for 2 nights.
Wow.
And then there's 2 different occasions on 2 different nights. So I'm really excited.
And the Southport bit, which is a lovely bit of the coast, but it's like it's a million miles from Conchett.
It is.
So you're saying that, and when I was really small, I lived in Newcastle, and I thought it was like a million miles just to get to Whitley Bay. So I can understand how far Southport is. Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be ages.
Might as well be Mars. But so when you get there, what do you do in Southport? Because they keep you in a hotel overnight. Is there a big do where you have to go and answer questions or parade yourself on stage?
So I think the first night it's fashion wear.
Right.
And then, which is like fashionable outfits. And then the next night there's an interview.
Right.
And like a big long dress. And then the winners get announced.
Fantastic. So then
it's quite a cool event.
So if you win it then, what's the top prize then?
So if you come, like if you actually win it, you'll get a crown and you get a few prizes and you get to go to Las Vegas to compete internationally.
Whoa! If you think Southport's a long way, Las Vegas, what get your head round that, girl? Wow! That's amazing. Well, good luck. Let's hope that you are victorious, because you've already done a lot of good stuff, raising all of that money for good causes too. And I know some of that money goes back round to do it again so that more money can be raised. That's how those things kind of operate. And good luck on Saturday then. My goodness.
Yeah, thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you for coming. Can people go and see you, or what's the score?
No, but you can go onto a Facebook page. That is Lacey's Fundraising Walk, and there's a PayPal link there where you can donate, and all the money goes to the Samaritans charity.
Samaritans, and hey, they do great, such a good job as well. Brilliant stuff. Thank you, Lacey. Be the bonniest one there, will you?
Oh, thank you.
Thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye. How about that? My goodness. Just the guts to have that kind of thing. It's amazing. 0191 488 3188. I'm actually on the tip of excited. And why? Because we've got Penny from Stockton-on-Tees. Hello, Penny.
Hello, Alan.
Hello. Now, the reason I'm excited is because I know who you are. Because it says here, you, I don't know whether you are or were, caretaker for the House of Lord and Lady Armstrong. Is that the banqueting house?
No. I have after watching your ghost hunt,
Yes.
Jasmine Dean.
Uh-huh.
I had a calling, and I just thought, I've got to ring. I've got to try and take care of that house. So I got in touch with the council.
Uh-huh.
And I said, can I offer myself as housekeeper to Lord and Lady Armstrong's house?
Uh-huh.
I said, it looks like it's getting vandalised.
There was a window broken anyway, definitely, the one in the middle.
Yeah. I thought, well, I didn't realise it had tenants in.
It's got tenants in?
Yes, apparently so.
How can it? The ceiling's falling down. In are you talking about the actual house or the banqueting hall? Because it was the banqueting hall that we were looking at.
No, the actual house.
Right. Because the banqueting hall, the one that we got the image in the middle window, we caught a figure on it that we filmed for 5 or 6 minutes. So
yes,
that's
yes.
That's the banqueting hall, and there can't possibly be tenants in there because as we filmed up at the upstairs windows, all the ceilings falling in. So you couldn't live in there.
Well, apparently so. So
right.
Unfortunately, it belongs to someone called Urban Green.
Right.
So I offered myself, but they said, no, we've got tenants in at the minute.
Right. Well, I'm not in the. I'm positive not in the banqueting hall. But as I said, you see, they've got a house there, and they've got a house there, and they've got the banqueting hall. So I think they're talking about the house, maybe, because I was led to believe that Lord and Lady Armstrong had given the Dean and the buildings thereon to the people of Newcastle. I don't know whether it's just the Dean, which is a big enough present, if you ask me, or whether the houses come with it. But there was certainly no sign of life in there at all, and the upstairs rooms are falling in. So it would be a danger, I think, for anybody to be dead and living there is one thing, but to be alive and living in there, I would think is a bit of a shove. But incredible. I thought you were the caretaker.
Oh, no.
Because I was going to say, what's going on in that house? I was going to ask you, but no.
I tell you, my great-grandparents lived in the Dean.
What? In a house or just in the woods?
There's 2 cottages.
There is.
Dean.
Yes, we walked past
and
them.
they lived in one of those, and he was a gamekeeper.
Right. Hey, what a place to live, man, because it's beautiful down there. I was blown away. It's been such a long time since I've been in the Dean, and when you go in and you see how well it's looked after, I didn't even get a chance to go to Pet's Corner, and I wanted to see what was going on down there. But apparently, late at night, it's busy. Loads of people are playing chess and games, and the people playing music and dancing about. It's
yes, it's always been very busy.
It is, and I absolute respect to the people that look after it, because it's a gorgeous and fascinating place to be, no question about it.
Yeah, and it's so big, isn't it? It's lovely.
You don't realise just how big it is till you decide you're going to walk from one end to the other, and after you get about halfway, you think, I should have asked for Sherpas and camels to help me get to the other end. It is a sizable place.
And the waterfalls are beautiful.
They are, and when we were there was a young, and I presumed it to be a student, sitting on the top of the falls reading a poetry book, and I thought, can't think of a better place to sit and read a poetry book. Do you know what I mean? Beautiful. Beautiful place.
Oh, I know. It's absolutely... it used to be full. It still is.
Yes.
It used to be full because my great-grandfather, he was the gamekeeper, and he was also the taxidermist for the Hancock Museum.
Give over, was he really?
So the animals that he caught in the Dean, he would stuff and take them to the Hancock Museum.
That is amazing. He wasn't responsible for the basin, was he? Did he ever mention to you that? Because they've got a basin in there, and there's no pleasant way of mentioning this, but some of his accessories, school children for years went to see that basin because he had male equipment that was ginormous. And all the kids, if you take a school trip around, nobody mentions the basin, but every child goes, "Have you seen that?" And everybody was pointing and giggling and doing that immature kid thing. But just the thought that your granddad might have stuffed that. Wow. Because somebody had to.
My parents' house was full, absolutely full of stuffed
stuff.
Animals.
Stuffed
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't do Lord and Lady Armstrong, did he, while he was on?
Well, no, I don't think it was that.
Going to have him I want him sitting in a chair with a cigar. No, leave me husband alone. Oh, my goodness.
I listened to a programme about strange traits tonight.
Well, yeah, strange traits in your family. Well, you've got a stuffer in your family, which is strangely enough, I would have thought.
Oh, well, yes, it was quite spooky. I didn't have many boyfriends when I was younger.
I bet.
Talking about strange traits, my mother always had a magnet at the bottom of her bed. And she said that helped with her arthritis.
I was thinking, a magnet at the bottom of the bed. Is this because she sewed metal into your dad's underpants?
Pardon? Say that again?
This wasn't because she'd sewed metal into your dad's underpants?
Oh, no. Separate bedrooms and then...
Oh, my goodness. No, but the thing is, I always thought it was copper rather than magnets. Copper was supposed to help with arthritis.
I always remember because it was like a little horseshoe.
Oh, yes, because the old-fashioned magnets looked like that.
Yes, the old-fashioned ones.
Uh-huh. And did it work?
Well, she swore by it.
All right.
She said, arthritis, get me magnets.
Mm-hmm.
So she swore by it, yeah.
How about that? Amazing. That's tremendous. Who would have thought? So that's strange enough. And the other thing, you wouldn't want to take a boyfriend up to your granddad's house and say, "Mine, don't fall asleep on the couch because my granddad's has a habit of stuffing things."
Oh, he was always sizing you up.
Yeah. How much sawdust do I think I'm going to need for... Brilliant. Hey, that's lovely. Penny, thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and I love your ghost hunts. I love them.
Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying them. Take it easy. Thanks, Pen.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. So that's Penny. I thought she might have been one of the caretakers, but not to be. 01914 488 3188. Question for you. Mm-hmm. Yes, you. What was the first gig you went to see? First ever big gig? Not just like a local thing or something that's chucked on at a park that you just happen to be wandering by. The first gig, you saved money up. You bought the tickets. You got all excited. Then you went to see it and went crazy. Well, Christine of Throckley went to her first gig at the O2 Academy on Thursday. Hello, Christine.
Hi, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Who'd you go and see then? Who was your first gig?
Well, it wasn't so much my first gig. It's been my first gig for nearly 2 years.
Right, okay then. Who was it?
I recovered. I went to see Royal Blood at the O2.
Oh, brilliant. How were they?
Oh, absolutely amazing, Alan. Amazing. I've been obviously devastated that I haven't been able to go to all my gigs because I go to quite a lot in festivals and things like that. And I've actually got a ticket to see the Stereophonics next week at Scarborough Open Air Theatre, and I thought that was going to be my first one back, and then I managed to get tickets to see Royal Blood because they're only doing 4 nights.
Yeah, fantastic.
Across the country. So I was really apprehensive about going. I was thinking, I've been double jabbed. Should I go? Do I not go? So I got myself a couple of tickets, and I took my brother, and we just went along, and it was Oh, it was absolutely buzzing.
Was he into the same stuff that you're at? I mean, does he?
He's into a lot of rock. We're both into a lot of rock music, and
Great.
I've loved Roy Budd for a few years. I had tickets to go and see them at the Tomorrow Festival at Exhibition Park, but that got cancelled, so I was a bit gutted. And then when these tickets came, I just sort of like snapped them up. I thought, that'll do for me. So
was there any kind of nod towards the whole COVID thing, or how was it organised?
Well, we the O2 we got emails and everything just to say that we had to be double jabbed, and we had to we had to have a lateral flow test, a negative lateral flow test.
Yeah,
couldn't get that out there. Obviously, I'm double jabbed, so I went. Yeah, I'll do that. And you've got to get the NHS app, not the COVID app, but the NHS app. You know, the app. What you
And you've got the thing to scan that you take it. I understand
that on the door, and so we rocked up. We were going to go across to the store for a quick drink first, but that was closed.
Right.
So when we saw the queue, it was I've never seen the queue at the academy before that long. Because usually it's like a little bit down the side. It was down the side, round the back, up by Assembly Halls and down Clayton Street, and we thought we're never going to get in, because obviously because of all the COVID, because they're doing the checks, it was going to be a lot slower. But I have loads and loads of security on, and honestly, it took about 10 minutes to get in. It was so fast. I was really, really chuffed. It really organised it really, really well.
Well done, you too, because that is a nightmare, because a lot of that stuff's just been kind of thrust on them, they'll have to have brought extra people in, but thank heavens.
There was loads that we normally have.
Yeah.
There's usually about one or two like security guards on the front and inside, but there was loads. I mean, there was someone coming around the queue, checking we had the right app before we even got what app checked, and then you had the scan, and then we went in. The only thing I was a bit nervous about is that they did say we'd like you to wear masks, but not if you were drinking. You didn't have to. And I thought, well, it's okay, you're going to have a... So I was a bit apprehensive about that, but I mean, you couldn't wear masks in there. It was packed to the rafters, and we were sort of like, breath away. So I did worry about that, but it was bouncing. Honestly, and everybody was just so happy to be out. Alan, honestly, I walked in the O2 and I had a little tear with every face. I was going, oh, this is glad to be back, and we just the whole night we just rocked the academy. We're coming absolutely buzzing, and everybody just spilled down the streets out. But it was just, and I was just so chuffed because I had heard a little bit of rumour that Bristol hadn't handled the security that well. People were sort of like whinging a bit on social media saying, didn't do checks very well. So I was thinking, but they were great. They checked everybody, and we went in, and it was more than in and everything. But it was just so lovely to get back, and I just can't wait because Scott was open air next week. So I was thinking I didn't really mind about that because it was out in the open air, fresh air.
Yeah.
And I was a bit worried about being so squashed up with, as you do, right at the front. But it just went smoothly, and it was great. And I was just buzzing. I'm still buzzing now, just even thinking.
I know you can tell just in your voice. But mind you, the one thing you do have to worry about is we're hearing thunder, lightning, really bad weather, because we've had really lovely weather.
I know I don't do that about Scott, but
it says everywhere except Scarborough's going to get nasty weather. That's what it says.
Oh well, I've had me praying mat now. It's going to be about 18 degrees, but there's a chance about raining. So I mean, I'll just take my raincoat. I'll be fine.
Blame you.
Be fine.
The thing that I've noticed, mind, is because everybody's been so desperate to see their heroes, and they haven't had the chance for the longest time. I think a little bit of warm rain on a warm night's not going to be the end of the world.
Absolutely lovely. One of the biggest things, especially when you go to a festival standing out and it's just gone dusk.
Yeah.
And they're singing on there. I mean, that's an ideal stereophonic sort of type because they're sort of like, they're not sort of like a raucous crowd. Everybody likes to sing along and have a good time, and that's what I love about a stereophonics one. The one on Thursday was really raucous. I mean, all the youngsters were jumping about, and the mosh pit was going, and I thought, well, I just joined in. My brother just joined in and sang along and jumped and ached the next day. But it was well worth it. It was just lovely.
It's funny that thing that you mentioned, though. You mentioned when it gets to dusk and there's a certain mood and a certain atmosphere. And I mentioned this on the show many, many years ago. And it's one of my most vivid live gig memories. And I've been lucky enough to host gigs with the likes of Queen and Springsteen and a lot of people. But one of the first stadium shows that I ever did was at St James's Park. Lindisfarne was on, and getting everybody singing and dancing and, Lindisfarning. And then afterwards, the second act that was on, from what I remember, it was about 5 o'clock till about 6:30, and it was Santana.
Oh, right, yeah, I've never been there. No.
Oh, my goodness. They were playing Samba Partai is one of their instrumentals. And the sun was going down. It was red sky. They played that instrumental, and it was like you could not have a more perfect moment than that dusk's coming. You know there's another band coming on. It was actually Bob Dylan, in fact. So you know that there's somebody else coming on to be excited about. But that moment, I'll remember it as long as I live. And it wasn't the crowd weren't going crazy. They were just totally into it. It was...
It is just a lovely thing. Like people say, "Oh, I don't like festivals." Oh, it's absolutely amazing. I'm 54 years old and I still go to gigs.
Why that?
And I don't think there's any age limit. I've been there. I've been dancing and singing with youngsters, all sort of ages. And just never age is just there's no barrier there. You just go, love the music. It's great to be with people that all love the same music that you love.
For sure. Mind you, if you're worried about the passage of you're double jacked at the first place, but you are a bit worried about it. How can you say that when you've coped with festival toilets? If ever you're gonna die, it's gonna be because of one of them.
I took my daughter once a couple of years back down to Leeds. One of our first experience, so a massive food fight, and we went to see the Leeds Festival. And the toilet, you just can't even talk about them toilets. And she was mortified. She said, just go in, you'll be fine, put your hands sanitizer. And I went, you've just got to roll with it, We didn't have a shower for about 3 days, and it was you've just got to roll with it. And she absolutely loved it. I mean, I know it's not for everybody.
No, those toilets aren't really for anybody, frankly.
No. I know you don't win from them.
you've got to go. I know people that what they used to do, rather than go there, you've got a lot of people take tents anyway. They get a black plastic bag, a tent and a toilet roll, because I'm not going in those things.
And a spade. Well, I'm ex-army, Alan, so I mean, I've been used to that. I've been, I've had my spade in the middle of a field, so nothing grazes me at all. I mean, I just love it, and it's like, and I took him. She went to the Kings of Leon was the first act that she first ever saw.
Oh, that's brilliant!
The festival.
What a start!
And I was worried because I'm thinking, she's going to get into the mosh pit. I keep her way back. I turned around and she was in there jumping and everything. She was
brilliant.
Gosh, when can you imagine the food fighters? I mean, it was really we were sort of nose to nose. And I was panicking, thinking, she's going to like this, but she absolutely loved it. She jumped with everybody else. And
fantastic.
It's just a great atmosphere. You just can't have been buzzed when you come out.
Well,
I
can hear you. You're still buzzing on the blood.
Yeah,
so
I can't wait. Wednesday can't come fast enough for me. I'm just thinking,
bring on the stereophonics.
2 more days at work, how am I going to get through that?
You'll manage it. It'll fly by. Lovely talking to you. Thank you, Christine.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. So first gig, what was yours? Was it great? Have you done a festival? How was it for you? What did you do? Were you the bin bag in the tent, or how did it work? 0191 488 3188, especially when we heard year before last, in one of the toilets, there was a toilet unit, they dug a trench for all the human waste, to go. And, we talk about trying to stay well at a time when illness is about. There was somebody swimming along the poo trench underneath everybody's bottoms, and just doesn't bear thinking about. Time for a quick piece of music, but first of all, we mention music. We mention a band called Roxette. Might as well talk to them about it.
The first album that you did together wasn't the one that broke you in Britain and most of Europe. It was the second one, wasn't it?
Yeah, right. First album was called Pearls of Passion. It came out in '86, and in the 80s, coming from Sweden, trying to get an international thing going for you wasn't that easy. I remember even after The Look, and the first American #1 we had, when we tried to get it on the radio here in England, the record company promoted us as an American band because otherwise the radio here won't play us.
Right.
So I mean, it was tough.
So did you wear a cowboy hat for interviews to try and prove your point?
Both of us looked like Garth Brooks.
So what was it then? What made the difference? What was the breakthrough moment for Britain then?
Well, I don't know. I think it was, eventually the look became a big hit here, and then the truth came creeping in, and we were Swedish. But then, as soon as you're successful, it becomes a trademark. It's the Swedish band.
Yeah.
So it's no big deal, but it's cool.
And yet that song, I seem to remember saying it at the time it was a hit in Britain. It was on everything. It was on all of the clothes programs. It was on all the music shows. It was on everything. Everybody used it for something, didn't they?
Yeah, right. It's the same all over the world, yeah.
Just that one song out, and suddenly you're an international success all over the world. How do you follow that, though? Because that's the tough thing, isn't it? Coming up with more things that people will take.
Yeah, but I think that helped, that we talked about earlier, that we had success at home before the international success, so to speak. And, when the big breakthrough came for us, I was 28 and Marie was 29 years old. So we had lots of experience, and we knew that, you have to have more substance than just one song. And the Look Sharp album was actually packed with good songs. And we had Dressed for Success, we had Listen to Your Heart, we had Dangerous. And, so the list could go on. And
a lot of them were really strongly... It sounded to me as if you were writing about things that you identified with. When you're putting a song together, does it all come from life? I mean, was that whole album what you two were up to at that time?
Well, I think every writer starts with himself, when he writes, and then you create a character that goes on.
Usually I like the sound of water, but I prefer to see it. I loved those bats before, though. I am a fan of the bat. But anyway, we mentioned Hexham, and I never got around to telling you why I mentioned Hexham. Hexham comes originally from a German word, and the place used to be called that German word. However, Hexham, for a lot of years, people considered Hexham too full of witches to even come to. And it's because of what we're doing tonight. And a lot of people claim, the witches themselves claim, that Hexham became Hexham because if you went to Hexham, they could hex you, put a spell on you. And that ties in very nicely with the ritual that we're going to be carrying out, probably in part 2, to change your look for the better. And it's a book moon. They only happen once in years. So tonight would be a perfect time to make that happen. So we've heard chattering. If there is anything here and you'd like to join us, please feel free. Do you know, you can hear it, but there's no white water. Where's the white water? Because you only get that noise when you get the ripples. I don't understand. Yeah, I think it's just a breeze, Ken. I think there's a bit of a breeze down here. Oh, those things I'm not going to mention are I think it's just my hair. It's the breeze, just my hair. This is a witchy wood, though, isn't it?
But isn't this a great thing that anybody can just come here and do this, what we're doing?
Anytime. And we'll give you all the details before the end of the show, so you can do this. Now, we did the leopard trail, if you remember, that runs close along to where the railway was that we went to in one of our earliest shows. The reason that we're down here is this is a Revis trail. This is only here. This path originally was created by thieves, vagabonds who used to rob people that would come and hide out here. Some of the most famous Reivers, including Dickie of Westwood. You cannot make these names up. Look up Dickie of Westwood. They'll tell you the full story. Dickie was always he was a canny lad. Everybody kind of liked him. And even the magistrate said on one occasion when he was brought up in front of the magistrate, Dickie's actually a canny lad, but he can't get enough fighting. And he used to get drunk, and then he'd fight people, and you'd just get drunk to fight people, because normally he was just a nice lad. And when he robbed people, he was always polite. He still robbed them, but he was polite. He didn't hurt anybody. However, apparently, the other reavers used to come up here, and way up, miles further, about another 5 or 6, 7, 8 mile up here, is a place called Staywards Peel, an old peel tower. Willie made that his roost, and all the other reavers would come up and meet him, not necessarily up there, but anywhere on the track where he happened to be, and he would look after them. And sometimes they were shot, and he'd have to bury them if they died of their injuries. So there's a fair bit of death out here too that we got to be aware of. And we haven't even mentioned the tribal battle, but I'll tell you when we get to the place where that battle took place. Oh, that was a big bat, bigger than the ones we've seen. Just went across that. And with all of the bugs, you can understand why bats thrive in a place like this.
Perfect for them, isn't it?
When we did the other Peel tower, the Preston Tower, they were putting bat boxes up there. You don't need to. They'll find their own way. You see the guano on the stems telling you that they're living up there. See the white?
Oh, right, yeah.
So
What that is?
Yeah, that's how you can tell.
Something in there. Did you hear that?
Was it like animal?
It could be an animal, but it's...
Because, ooh, voices.
Could have been a bird.
It's not windy.
You could have been a bird, he said.
Oh.
What a flatulent cuckoo. It's not windy. You got to be careful of the briars there. Doesn't that look spooky? You can understand why witches would come out here too. Witches essentially are just ordinary women who believed in nature, who didn't want to be killed for it. Because there's a story of Matthew Hopkins from up this neck of the woods. I'll tell you that story a bit later as well, because he was the witch finder general. And I always picture him in my head as Vincent Price. Remember from the film? And the film wasn't too far away from the truth. Glamorized a bit, because I think it was a Hammer, one of those Hammer horrors. I just expected Tony to be there.
Yeah, it was like a stump, wasn't it?
Like a footstep that wasn't mine.
That's what I heard. It's like someone's coming up behind, like beside
don't
us.
say that, man. That spooks me when I think somebody's going to be behind me. But it is that. It was like a stump, wasn't it?
Yeah, just heavy foot, like somebody's walking. But we're all wearing.
I think walking on the leaves. That's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Sounded like someone walking on the leaves.
Now, one thing that I haven't mentioned that I suppose I should, there's certain things that only Hexham people will know. First of all, the studio, the disco, the studio is not the studio. It's Donny's or Dontino's, and it will always be Donny's or Dontino's. Yeah, some people try and change the name of football stadiums, like the St. James's Park, and it's always going to be St. James's Park. Yeah. The other thing about Hexham, though, is that when we're talking about the whole witchy matter, there's supposed to be human bodies buried beneath the paving stones of the town, because back in the day, they were digging a new town, and they had a lot of bodies to bury, and they didn't want to have to factor in another cemetery, so they put them under the paths. Now, whether that's true or not, I've been trying to research without much success. Some say definitely, some say, how is that making the noise that it is? Well, there's a little bit of weight there. There's a little bit going on. I love rivers like this, because you can actually stand above them, and if there's fish in them, you can see them. If there's frogs, you can see them. The battlefields, yeah, absolutely. It does chill you. That is until we get to the battlefield, and we're not too far away. It's where you cross from one side of the river to the other. That's where the battle took place. So I'll tell you about it very soon. It's an amazing story. It's one of those stories that you can imagine people in the north telling their... What was that? Did you hear that, Tony? It was behind you.
There's loads of noises going on behind us.
You seem to be getting it more than we do, too.
Yeah. He's looking behind him, do you?
I know all the
Honestly,
time.
I'm getting a bit
I think
freaked.
someone's behind you, don't you?
It's from the start. Before we even went live, we saw like bits.
Yeah.
Unless there's other people in the place.
No, that was like a crunch on a branch.
I thought it was a voice. I thought I heard something like... But mind you, I heard a growl before. And I don't know, it's ever since somebody's planted the idea in my head of the wildcat, maybe. Maybe it's just not. Oh, we might see somebody on the other side of the river. Look at that. Let's do a scan, Ken.
Through there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Keep going.
That way.
Yeah, it's just echo mine. We can see more.
Loads of moths, isn't there?
First of the games with bronze in judo before Bradley Sinden won taekwondo silver. Martin Baker has coached Bradley since he was 4 years old.
At the moment, he'll be very, very disappointed. You know, maybe tomorrow or a few days later, he'll realise what he's done. Right, and I think once he's got that silver medal in his hand and he's gone back to his room, I think he'll be pretty pleased with himself.
Swimmer Adam Peaty's the hot favourite to win gold in the 100 metres breaststroke overnight. That's the latest. I'm Matt Steele.
Nice man, Alan Robson with you, Greatest Hits Radio North East. Let us get busy and talk to as many people as we possibly can. Now, Mark's been on and he wants to know if any listeners in the Thornaby area have had mobile signal problems or calls cutting out. He's had a problem with his phone and he said that the phone mast's been taken down from the flats and the mast is relocated at Thornaby Tower, wherever that is. Has anybody else had any bother? Yes or no? And we'll pass that on. We have Louise, who's in Chester Street. Hello, Louise.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, darling. What can we do for you tonight?
Right, I want to talk about my son's GoFundMe page.
Right, uh-huh.
He's 6-year-old. He got diagnosed with autism when he was 2. He's got really severe autism, really severe learning difficulties. He has the understanding of like a 6 to a 12-month-old baby, so literally not a lot there at all. Right. He doesn't sleep hardly, 0 to 2 hours a night. So we're trying to fundraise to get a special bed for him, so it keeps him safe during the night as we sleep upstairs and he sleeps downstairs. Right, so when he's awake, I've got to be awake.
Blimey, that's a full-on 24/7 kind of thing, mate.
Literally 24/7. So sometimes he's awake before I even go to bed. So
right.
It's really tough.
Yeah, I bet it is. What's the long term for him? I mean, have the doctors given you any hope at all that things will speed up a little bit, or is he always going to be a lot of years behind?
Yeah, I mean he's 7 in December, and he's still round about the same age, 6 to 12 months is what he was. He goes to a special school. He goes to Villarreal and Concert, which they've brought him on wonders with doing things like simple things like sitting, concentrating for 5 minutes, and sitting on a chair, sitting, trying to eat dinner, stuff like that, the little things. And yet,
these are the things that any parent would take for granted by the time they're 1 and a half, let alone.
Yeah, so I celebrate the tiniest things, like you say, that some parents think, well, what you're celebrating that for? But it's huge to me. What parent does, the tiniest little things.
Yeah, it's massive, massive. So, how can people help?
Well, I've got a GoFundMe page. It's on. I've posted to your Facebook page, Alan. Also, I've got an email for it, and obviously, I've got donation buckets and Mega Bingo gated. The place in Dalton Park at Codrosina Fish Shop. So I'm trying to get as many people to share it far and wide, or any businesses or anyone who wants to help to try and help get this bed from.
So if there's anybody that works in a shop or a store, if you've got your own shop, if you're prepared to put a bucket or a bottle or however you choose to do it on your counters with an explanation and maybe a little picture of the burn as well. Anything like that would help. Any companies that want to pile in, that would be fantastic too. So how do people find it then, Louise?
Right. Well, I've got the link here, which is gofund.me/750EE7D4. That's like the direct link.
Right.
Or there's Kurt's email, which is kurtzgofundme@gmail.com.
That's easier. Kurt's GoFundMe
@gmail.com.
@gmail.com. So that's it.
I've shared it all over my Facebook page, which is obviously Louise Jackson. I've made it public so the post people can see it.
Great.
But yeah, I've shared it on obviously your Facebook, so people can go on there if they want to see the link and just directly click it as well.
That's great. No, that's good that
But
you've done
he's
that.
honestly, despite everything, he's such a happy little boy in his own little world. He's he cannot speak, but he speaks through his smile. He's absolutely amazing.
But we've got to get him brought on as to be the best that he can be. That's the deal. And
totally.
I absolute respect to you, Louise, because blimey, this is a mountain for you to carry. And I know it's the one that you do with love, and I've got no doubt about that. But just look after yourself as well, though, because you're the one that will get forgotten about in the grand scheme of things, and you're the person that's carrying the weight.
Yeah.
And if you go down, that's not a good thing. So just think about yourself too.
It's like when he's awake, he's got obviously no sense of danger. He climbs out of bed, he climbs in his room, then he goes up the stairs, in the living room, in the kitchen. It's so if you're not with him, he's got no sense of danger whatsoever. Right. So he's just like a little Energizer bunny, 24/7. He just doesn't want to sleep.
It sounds funny until you're ruined after a long day and the band's still awake, so you can't get down. That's the thing.
Sometimes I could just sit and cry. I'm thinking I'm so tired, and then it brings on the physical effects of headaches and your body aches, just total tiredness. But honestly, I've tried to get to bed so much, obviously through the NHS, and certain parts of the NHS just don't want to comply and help, so it makes it even tougher.
Why is that? I'd have thought that they would be providing you with maybe even secure beds with sides on them that the band can't climb out of.
Yeah, they just won't. They don't give you an answer, or they just say, "Oh, well, it's money, it's this," and so it's the only.
So what do you need? I mean, are you in desperate need of one of these beds?
Yeah, it's obviously this bed will give him a new routine that'll help him sleep to chill and where he'll be safe on a night. So when he's safe and I know he's safe, then I can sleep.
Have you contacted Cash for Kids?
No.
Well, that's certainly something, because they have funded beds for this kind of thing, and not just once or twice, a lot.
Yeah.
There's a guy called Dan Slee who works for Cash for Kids. He's my contact with them. What I'll ask to do, can we get Dan maybe to give this lady a call, and he could... Oh, you've got to apply online, we're told now, isn't it? Right. Just a case. So go to Cash for Kids.
I will do.
Cash for Kids, there's a form for you to fill in, and I will personally send Dan Slee a message during our next commercial break to say, watch out for Louise. Yeah. And you're going to have to obviously put in some medical information about the band, and checkable stuff too. Sometimes they ask for letters for hospitals and that kind of stuff, but nothing that you won't have. That's the thing. But fill it in. It might be a month or two, because they do it in 3 months. Every 3 months they dish the money out, kind of thing. Yeah. So, but I would definitely contact them, because they try the very best they can to fill in the gaps. When the National Health Service doesn't provide a lot of what it used to provide, as a matter of course.
Not.
So.
This bed will change his life and change our life totally.
Well, make sure you tell them that, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that they can help, because they have in the past. And what they have to see is that you're trying your best too, and you can already do that because you got the websites and the GoFundMe pages and all of that. Yeah. So, and they can say, "Oh, we've got a bottle out here, and he's at this shop and that shop." So all the proof you need, you can provide them, and fingers crossed that they can And I know there's a lot of people putting their hand out at the present moment, but why shouldn't you blame me? You've got a real case for it. So make sure you do that, Louise, and let's hope that some people go across to the site. Give me the site again. It's Kurt at...
Right, so the email is kurtzgofundme@gmail.com.
Right.
Or the GoFundMe link is gofund.me/750EE7D4, but it's on your wall if people want to go on and have a look.
Get on our wall at once. Thank you very much, Louise. Good luck to the pair of you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Alan.
Bye-bye. Oh, let's hope Cash for Kids can come good. Blimey. You've just got to put yourself in her place just for a day, and you'd want to help. You really would. We have Gemma, who is in South Shields. Hello, Gemma.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, love. What can we do for you tonight?
Hello. So first of all, just a massive shout out to that lady. I think she's absolutely amazing, and I'll definitely be going to donate on the GoFundMe page.
Lovely, thank you. It's very kind.
So yeah, well done. So for me, Alan, I was watching on your Facebook page and seeing that you're doing a few ghost hunts and things
every week.
And yes, so I was just wanting to know how I get involved, because I used to be a massive believer of like the afterlife, ghosts, all that kind of stuff. And then just recently, I've had a few experiences which has probably got us leaning the other way. And I kind of want that confirmation of either I do believe or I don't believe, because I kind of feel like I'm stuck in a bit of limbo at the minute.
Right. Well, I mean, with us, we have a slight problem because the COVID thing seems to be kicking back and causing a lot of problems about things that you can do and things that you can't do, and being responsible. So as soon as we are allowed to take people with us on ghost hunts, then we want to. So it's just as simple as writing in and letting us know why you want to do it, and then it would be you on your own mind, and we would be putting you in places on your own to have your own experience. So that would be the deal. So, because I know a lot of people say, I want to go on a ghost hunt, and me 19 friends and me 14 members of my family. Well, that's never going to be the case. It'll be one person on their own, and we'll take you, and you will have the main experience, and we will stay out of it, and you do everything.
Yeah, see, it's so the last time, so I was in York on my honeymoon just a couple of weeks ago, and we did this ghost tour, and part of it was there was a bar where apparently Dick Turpin's body was put
in
the cellar, and people paid money to come and just check that he was dead, because he was so obviously hated by the public because of everything that he's done. So after this tour, I'd asked if I could go down and sit in the cellar on my own, because I was still in that phase of like, is there or is there not? So I went and sat in the cellar on my own, and just kind of, saying, look, this is your chance. If there's anything here and you want to let me know that you're here, rustle something or touch me or whisper in my ear or whatever that may be. And I sat there for a good 5 minutes and just nothing. And you think, and that's, I was kind of like, right, okay. I almost feel like I've got my confirmation that there isn't anything, but I don't want to give up quite yet.
Yeah, but just have a listen to what that sounds like. You went into a place that's stained by history of one sort or another, whether you believe, whether there's ghosts or whether there isn't. Amazing things happened there. And you said because nothing happened in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Do you realise how this is like saying, I'm going big game hunting. Do lions exist? I've been here in this jungle for 5 minutes and I haven't seen a lion, so lions don't. Do you realise how daft that sounds?
I know what you mean, but I just think, I didn't even get a sense of anything. And even all the locations I went to, no sense of anything.
Well, you don't necessarily, I sometimes can feel something, and other times I don't feel a thing, and that's when something happens. So I
think that's what I'm looking for. Because I'm normally quite sensitive to things, which is why in the past I've had quite a lot of things happen. Even in my own home, hearing my partner completely does not believe at all, but even in my own home, standing in the kitchen, and we heard a woman's voice say hello, and he was like, is your mum here? And I said, no. she's not. I said, oh, I have not invited her, and I looked, and the front door was locked and everything. So there's a lot of stuff happened, but I think I just need that. I don't know. I'm just craving that confirmation. I think it's almost people want it for almost a comfort, don't they?
Well,
Like
it's that a bit, but the problem you have is that you want it to be like you've just made an episode of Ghostbusters. You want instant gratification. And to be honest, my experience, and not just in Britain but all over the world, because I've been lucky enough to look a lot of places, and a lot of it's incredibly subtle. A lot of it would be very easy to miss. Unless you're really focused in on it. And most people, when they go ghost hunting, aren't. You know, they're just easily distracted by other things, so you miss stuff. I've heard a lot of things, and I always say discount 95% of everything and look for that magic 5% that can't be anything else. And I've caught a little bit of that, and that's what you strive for every time you go out. But we go out, and sometimes we get a lot, and sometimes we get nothing. And we give it more than 5 minutes. And at the end of the time we go out, we don't then say, we didn't see anything tonight, so therefore it doesn't exist. The whole point is we know this stuff, and I know this stuff. I know there's more than what we understand. I've seen, I've heard, and I've seen an awful lot more of, well, it might have been or it might not, who knows. I've had more of that than anything, because that's what we mostly get. Stuff that it could be, but it might not. It could have been this as well. Oh, but it might have been that. You know, how many times do you hit a bullseye when you're firing a bow and arrow, you know? And you're saying that the target doesn't exist unless you hit a bull every time. You've got to lower what you're looking for a little bit just to be straightforward. But all you've got to be to apply for the ghost hunt, we take support as people who are supporters of what we do. And as long as you're a supporter, write in, tell us the reasons why you'd like to go. And because we're doing one a week, once we get people going, that will be one different person a week. So that'll mean quite a quick turnover. So we'll be looking for a lot of people. So why not you? That would work. But Gemma, thank you very much. Thanks for calling.
No, that is champion. Thank you. I will absolutely be writing in. So
champion.
Yeah.
Neighbour, thank you very much indeed. There you go. Look forward to seeing you. Gemma there wants to be on a ghost hunt, and why not? We've been talking at the beginning of the show about horrible habits. Well, Katie in Barnard Castle is up next. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, darling. So, tell us the true horror of your father, then.
Oh, God. So, starting with the father, he has a huge habit of sleepwalking, and I seem to have picked that up.
Oh, right. Oh, dear.
There's a couple of weird stories off the top of my head. Dad, he told me a story once. He'd woken up on the couch downstairs in the living room, sat up. He'd neatly folded every single piece of uniform. This was when he was at school.
Right.
He'd neatly folded every piece of uniform he had and laid it perfectly, each set laid out on the side of the couch. He's peed in wardrobes. He's beaten my uncle. There's a few risky things he's done.
Risky things? Like what?
Well, about the peeing, my uncle and my dad used to sleep in the same room.
Right.
And he got up during the night, opened the wardrobe and started peeing in the wardrobe. My uncle woke up, was trying to wake my dad up. So my dad turned around and punched him in the face.
Oh, what?
But he woke up the next morning and said, "Oh, Colin, what's happened to your face?" He said, "Oh, I tried to wake you up. You were sleepwalking last night and you punched me square in the face."
Wow.
So he said, I'm never trying to wake you up again.
No. You're going to have to put a bucket in the wardrobe.
Well, it wasn't the first time. It happened a couple of other times as well. He got caught peeing in the wardrobe.
I'm just picturing his mum at the time thinking, these clothes are going to get a bit feisty in this water. Is it mouldy in here? And see the reason why. Oh dear. But you mentioned that this was passed on to you.
Yes.
So you're whittling in a wardrobe too, then?
No. Something. I mean, it's probably on about the same level. Woke up one morning, my auntie was laughing at me. I said, "Oh, what are you laughing at?" She said, "You got up to some crazy things last night." I was about 7 at the time, so I was young.
No.
And my auntie said she got up to go to the toilet. She heard noises on the stairs. She popped her head round the corner to see who it was. It was me. I was walking down the stairs. She was shouting me, but I wasn't listening. So I got to the bottom of the stairs, pulled down my bottoms, did a little dance, half naked, pulled them back up, walked back up the stairs, walked past my auntie, got back into bed, tucked myself in, went back to sleep. And she just couldn't get over it. She couldn't get over. She said, "Honestly, Katie, I've never seen you do that."
No. No, but this is the thing, is we see a lot of dances, over a lifetime. You see in the 60s the twist. You see stuff like the bump in the 70s and 80s. You see punk, pogoing, or mosh pits for rock shows. You see the Macarena, and you see the Gangnam Style and all. Where did you see the pull your pants down and dance? Where did you see
I have no idea. It seems to be a subconscious thing. There was another time, trying to think. I've almost unlocked the front door and gone for a bit of a wander. That was a fun time.
Yeah, as long as you don't do that when you're outside. My goodness, talk about putting yourself at risk. Wow.
I know. I've gone to sleep in my own bed and woken up tucked in my dad's bed before. That one was quite strange.
And then when you wake up, you're going, "What's my dad doing in my bed?"
Well, Dad wasn't there, thank God.
Well, you were just, yeah, but
He was
right.
with girlfriends. I was staying at my grandparents'.
Right.
My dad lived there at the time.
Gotcha.
And I went to bed, in my bed, woke up during the night, see lights flashing in my face. I said, "What the hell is this?" Woke up, it was my dad's alarm clock. I was like, "Wait, why am I staring at my dad's alarm clock?" So I sat up in bed and I realised I was in my dad's bedroom.
Right. Odd.
I couldn't be bothered to go back into my own bed, so I just stayed in there and went back to sleep.
Well, we asked for weird families. That's a good one. Anything else while you're on, Katie? Thank you for that.
God. Nana, she was when she was pregnant with my mum, she loved peanut butter, gherkin, and mayonnaise sandwiches.
Oh, wow.
And she seems to have never gotten out of the habit. She still eats them to this day, and it's disgusting.
Yes.
I've liked peeling gum off the pavement and eating it.
Oh, really?
I like dipping my fingers in the butter and just having a little nibble on butter. My nephew seems to have picked that up because every time we open butter around him, he has to run over and stick his finger in.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is not the most hygienic family either, is it, when you think about it?
No, how I'm still alive or not chronically ill is beyond me at this point.
I think you've just given your all of those cells that protect you a good run for its money. I think that's probably...
Oh, I definitely have.
Probably
I
what
think
you've
my
done.
family have over the years.
I think they have too. Top call, Katie. Thank you for calling.
Thank you very much for having me.
No problem. There you go. I just used to eat the old chewing gum off the path. Yeah, like you do. Oh, go through your family for me, if you will be so kind. Going to take a quick break. Then I'm going to give you your first clue, for I have not given you your first clue that could win you one of our near legendary Night Owl mugs. If you would like one, get ready. They're running out fast too, so if you'd like one, tonight's the night, I think, for you.
So you've put in your hair? Whoa,
I think we're frozen. I think we might have frozen.
Are you back?
I'm not sure. I'll just check the phone.
Oh, we may have frozen. If we have frozen, apologies, everybody.
If we are freezing though, we are recording it, so you'll get it all again. So
Apologies if we are freezing. We hope we're not. And if we are, you'll get it all in 3D. But do stay with us if you can. Whoop!
Oh, look, the frog. Oh, we got it.
Too bright with the torch.
I wonder what it was. I've seen some movement there.
Can you see it?
Is it a frog or a toad?
Of course it's a frog.
Or a toad?
It's a frog. Hang on, don't want to hurt it, so.
No.
Come on, froggy. There you go.
Didn't want to move now.
No, I'm not going to pick it up.
Okay,
There he goes.
Jumping about.
And of course, that's a witch's familiar.
Yeah, of course it is.
So it's appropriate. Now, you see, 9 times out of 10, I would have picked that up and held it without any worry. But I'm being educated to be a cleaner individual, and I will be. So there. No, I just tidying up my act. About time. Whoa. No. Just hopped across the path. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, there's another one. Hello, do you see him? You got that one too. Oh, it's away. Shall we turn this into nature watch or something? Spring watch. Tony. Careful. What can you see? Come a bit more to the left. What can you see? You got a figure at the end.
In the far distance.
Yeah.
Like a black round the corner.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah.
The hell's that?
Yeah, it's attempting to reconnect. I think we've gone off again.
Oh,
Must
no.
just be down here.
Let's get through. It's just every time you get to something that's...
Stream resumed. Sorry about that.
It's a good job we've got our new facility to keep this HD. And we have to remember, of course, that when we stop, we'll still be live for the camera when the HD comes out. So we're seeing frogs and toads. 2 toads, that's the bottom of a stump. But we are right at the bottom of the ravine, so...
Yeah, maybe we should have took the top.
The higher road, maybe.
Yeah, because
let's march on. We never get across the river, though. You never see the battlefield. Let's rock through as best we can.
It's a dead end.
No, I don't think so. This may be the bridge.
Yeah, it's keep going off. Must be in a black spot. Yeah, I think we might need to go back and up there if it's no service here. Because, I mean, if we keep going through, it might just get less.
Come on, then.
A condition to Louise, severe autism, ADHD, global development delay, primary sleep disorder, lots of other things. He has the mental age of a 5-year-old. Sounds like his son has primary sleep disorder. My friend's son is the same. Maybe we could have a word, maybe put the two together. If that's what they both wish, happy to do that. We've had a couple of people in Thornaby saying that everything's okay. We've had a couple of people in Thornaby said he had to drop out for about 10 minutes. So whether that proves anything about Thornaby, I'm not so sure. Anyway, let's crack on because Peter is with us in Chelsea. Hello, Peter.
Hello, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Good to hear from you, Pete. What's up?
Yes, I was going to say, have you ever done your ancestral research?
On my family, you mean?
Yeah, that's right. long-lost family, you know.
It wasn't anything that I'd planned doing, but one of these ancestor sites came to me, presumably thinking they could plug what they were selling, and said, "Oh, let me tell you about your family," and took a DNA test and all that kind of stuff. So I've learned a little bit about it. Is it anything you've ever done?
Yeah, I will. I've just took the loudspeaker off. Can I hear you better now?
Well, I can hear you better, that's for sure, right?
Oh, that's better. I thought you knew. I told you, like, James V.
Oh, yes.
My 30th great-grandfather.
I've just tweaked who you are again. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, famous Flora MacDonald. She was my ancestral great-grandmother 6 generations ago.
Wow.
You know, she helped the free Bonnie Prince Charlie, wasn't it?
Helped get him to Skye, yes. And then she went... She went to North America to fight the Redskins.
I was just going to say that, you know, and she was actually sent to the Tower, and she spent the rest of her years in North Carolina before the American Civil War, and she lost a lot of land, etc.
She did, but she made it back. She came back to Scotland eventually.
Yeah, it's amazing how you knew that, you know. 'Cause so many kings were my grandfathers, I just couldn't keep up with it, you know. Robert the Bruce, he was my ancestral grandfather 17 generations ago.
Wow.
Sir Patrick Lyon, Edward the Third, he was born, all the kings. Yeah. And I was just looking at the Duke of Normandy.
Mm-hmm.
He's my ancestral granddad about 29 generations ago.
Uh-huh.
And the other one was Geoffrey II. He was the first Earl of Essex. And he had something to do with a nice de Temple.
Well, I hope you own Chelsea now, Peter, with all these royal links.
Yeah, because Beaufort Street, that Margaret Beaufort, she was my ancestral great-grandmother, would have been 16 generations ago.
Right.
Duke of York, you know, there was Richard, Duke of Edmund, and etc. Anyway, I was going to say, like, there was a French invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Richard of Normandy, he was my ancestral granddad, 860 to 932.
Right.
And Hilton Castle must have been around about that time, a French invasion, you know, William D. Hilton.
Right.
Yes, as I say, actually, it belongs to an African man now, you know, like...
Right.
Peter Hilton.
Right.
You know, it was left in decay, just went out of plantations, etc. You know, that's where they made the money.
Oh, really?
Anyway, as I say, I've had many dreams about Hilton Castle, you know. When I was a kid, I used to play there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it was just a wreck when I went, you know, because... anyway, I had this dream. I was in this room with the castle.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking on the Echo, so it's been done up, you know, since I was last there.
Yeah, that's right. They've been working on it for years now.
Yeah, and the picture of the room, it was exactly like in my dream, you know, the square windows and everything.
Uh-huh.
And the dining room had a couple of dreams, it's funny. Maybe that's just because I've read stories about it, but there was supposed to be a lady, you know, and there was something not right with her. She was supposed to run up and down the stairs, you know, crying, etc.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Were you the one that made her cry then?
It must have been a lovely castle, not so long ago. It used to have a clock outside, you know, a big clock. But it became dilapidated after they built the estate, you know, post-war. Hilton Castle Estate, they start nicking the lead off the roof, etc.
Yeah. There's also lost treasure just down from Hilton Castle that nobody's ever found, so...
Yes, and Swan was educated there as well, you know. There used to be a boarding school there. The Second World War, the army barracks, you know.
Oh, there's plenty of history knocking on our doorstep, that's for sure.
Sunderland, St. Peter's Church is supposed to be haunted as well, you know. The monks are supposed to have rats squealing or something, you know, things, etc.
Yeah.
Might have been too much of the wine I've had, probably, you know. But you've got to be sceptical, you know.
Well, you've got to ask questions, that's for sure.
Yeah, and you know, the funny thing, the last time I spoke to you, you said, "Have I seen a ghost?" I said, "Oh, no, I haven't really, you know, I can't really thing, but I was sitting out the back having a cigarette the other night, and I've got the area shut, as I tell you, and I haven't got a proper door on, it's got a back, shower curtain on, you know?
Right.
Just keep the pigeons out. And I was sitting there, and all of a sudden, I don't know why the breeze must have come under the curtain. And it looked like a hand pushing out of behind the curtain, you know, like someone off cycle. I just froze on top of the cigarette. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, but it looked like a hand pushing, you know.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking, oh, it must have been horrific, you know, in the Second World War, pushed in a little bunker, you know.
Yeah, hope every time you heard a bomb whistle, hoping for the best.
Yeah, but they knew where to go for because I live near the power station and houses nearby were bombed, you know.
Right, yeah.
And just to think being stuck in that must have been horrific.
Scary, no, for
Lest
sure.
we forget, you know.
Absolutely, not a question.
I tell you, and I shouldn't get into politics, but I'm very much against the Scottish National Party, you know.
Why? What's happened?
The leader, Arthur Donaldson, you know, he was, they used to call him MI5 on his case, you know, the Yellow Peril, they called him. And a lot of, he was giving information to the Nazis, you know, regarding the UK targets, industrial targets to weaken our war machine.
This is the Scottish National... Hang on a second.
Oh,
you say the
Clydeside was badly bombed.
I know
Yeah.
you're saying the Scottish National Party.
Yes, the SNP. And they're still trying to destroy the United Kingdom, you know?
Well,
why should people give the born UK rights up, you know, to be a lifetime slave for the Bank of Europe?
Yeah, well...
Because the EU was Hitler's idea in 1942. When he knew the Nazis were losing the war, he came up with the idea of a central government and bank, you know?
Yeah, but when you're talking about breaking up the British Empire has been breaking up for literally hundreds, if not 1,500 years.
Because of who created the United Kingdom, James VI. And he had a witch hunt, you know, in Europe. He set it off because I think it was something to do with Mary Queen of Scots, you know.
No, but you see, round about that time, England, or Britain if you prefer, half of France belonged to Britain. Britain was half of France. And a lot of people fail to remember that the British Empire was all over the place. I mean, all over the world, and big lumps of Europe belonged to it. So when you're saying the Scottish National Party want to blow it out the water, the SNP now want to have Scotland ruled by the Scottish people. And is that really so wrong?
No, they want actually to be ruled by the EU. They want to rejoin again.
Yes, but they want to be a separate country in Europe, yes.
Back in the 70s, you know, when Edward Heath got a £25,000 backhand of getting us into the common market. And back then, the SNP leaders were kicking and screaming. They didn't want to join the EU, you know. And now, just to be awkward, you know, they just want to join.
Yeah, no, because I heard that story too, but nobody's ever been able to prove it.
Yeah.
So is it not just another one of those, well, he got a backhander to get in? Well, anybody that doesn't agree with it would have said that, wouldn't they? It's just,
anyway,
I don't know the truth, and I don't know how you could. Have you seen his bank statements?
If Scotland gets the independence, there's been a land grab because once you get past Walls End, you know, that belongs to Scotland, it used to. Walls End and Tynemouth, you know. I think there's been a land grab over the years. I think one of my relations was called Otterburns and things, you know, the Lady Otterburns and things.
Well, I mean, you relate to pretty much everybody else, Peter. It's only a matter of time before you slide the rest of them in there. But good hearing from you. Thank you for coming on.
It's a bloody history. And as I said, my ancestry goes back over 2,000 years in Scotland. Even though my ancestors were Roman emperors and kings of Jerusalem, etc., my granddad, great-granddad, 3 generations ago, he was from Banffshire and they called him James Lyon. But his ancestors were ancient kings of Lyon, you know?
Gotcha. Well, blimey. How incredible. You're, I'm guessing that your family tree must cover about a wall and a half in your house. But thanks for calling, Pete. All the best. 0191 488 3188. How far can you go back with your family? Genuinely. I can go back to me granddad's dad. That's it. As far as it goes. No long distance, not related to a king or a queen. Probably somebody that pinched an apple and got sent to one of the colonies, I'm guessing. 0191 488 3188. Whatever you want to talk about, we'll do that. However, got to give you your first clue. Going to give you 4 clues to win that mug. The first clue is this. Name the band who had greatest hits with Love Train, I Love Music and Brandy. Okay? Name the band who had greatest hits with Love Train, I Love Music and Brandy. What was the name of the band? That's your first clue. 3 more clues to come, but let's move on to our next night owl, and that's David, who is in Sunderland. Hello, David.
Hi, Alan.
Hello, sir. What can we do for you?
I want to talk about all the illegal immigrants coming over.
Right,
Well, Pretty Patel's turning around and saying she's going to give France another £25 million to help them stop them leaving France.
Right. Well, you see, they used to do, when we were in Europe, before Brexit, the French did that automatically because we were all in it together. We're not in it now, so there's no reason for the French to stop them. In fact, there's everything for France to gain by actually helping them get across, because then they're not in France. So how else do you think Britain could get the French to try and act as some kind of barrier?
Well, instead of giving them another £25 million free gratis, why don't they impose tariffs on the French for every illegal immigrant that comes here?
Right. Well, okay, so then presumably, that's all right then to let the immigrants come over from Belgium and Holland and Italy and Portugal and Spain then.
There's not that many coming from them countries, is there?
Well, no, there isn't, but there are some.
Of course there are. But I mean, at the moment, it's becoming as big an epidemic as COVID.
Yeah, there's a lot of people doing it because Britain decided they didn't want to be in a scheme with France to protect each other's borders. That's what they had before. We looked after their border, they looked after our border. So both sides were covered, and they didn't want anybody skipping across to France, and they didn't let anybody come across from France to Britain. But the people who voted for Brexit didn't want the French to help. So you cannot say, we want all of you French people to pay with your money to protect our border. So why would they do that? Why would they do it for nothing? Say, we'll put tariffs, we'll charge you more. We can't do that because we're desperate to sell stuff anyway, and we're not going to put anything that will stop French people trading with us because we need their money. We've already got shelves in our supermarkets that are, in some places, up to a half full of what they should be because we haven't got the deals in place that everybody told us that we had. So now we've discovered, illegal immigration is becoming massive again because we took the troops off the wall and opened the gates. You cannot have it both ways. You either work with the French. If you don't want anything to do with the French have every right to say, well, stuff you. Let the immigrants get on the boats, let them go through, let them dive on the trucks. Why should we provide police to pull them off and stop them getting across? Let them go to Britain if that's what Britain wants. And now we're crying about it because the French aren't keeping them in France. If we had the choice, you can either have illegal immigrants in Britain or you can have illegal immigrants in France. We would say, stay in France. Well, the French are saying, no, if you want to go to Britain, help yourself. We're not going to stop you unless we get paid for doing it. And you wouldn't work for nothing. Neither will they.
Well, they have been getting paid, but they're not doing anything about it, are they? They're just taking the money and turning a blind eye.
Well, there'll always be some that get through. There's no question about that.
You're not talking about some, you're talking about hundreds daily now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, why don't you vote to stay in Europe then?
Well, it's not really whether you stay in Europe or not. And the other thing is...
It kind of is. Yeah, 'cause how many times did it happen when we were still in Europe? You'd get the odd boat that you'd hear about every 6-7 months. You'd hear a story about there's a boat coming, it's been stopped and da-di-da. Now we're hearing about it every day. You think that that's a coincidence?
Why are they wanting to come here, Alan?
Why don't they come here?
No, why are they wanting to come to Britain?
Because we've always been a soft touch, and we still are. And
if
we catch them, they go to court. We feel sorry for them and let them stay more often than not. And I've never understood why. And I know we're a country of mongrels. We haven't got this thing about England for the English has always been a joke, because we've belonged to France a lot, we've belonged to Germany, we've belonged to the Scandinavians, then William the Conqueror, and there's countless numbers of foreign countries being in charge of Britain, so therefore we're a right... Roman Britain was the Italians essentially, but they had troops from all over the world, so we're a right mixture. And I've got no problem with being a mixture. I just don't want illegal immigrants here. If they've got something that they can give the country, a skill, an ability, happy to have anybody that can make the country better, stronger. But I don't want the illegals here. But the problem is, if you pull down the barriers and then expect the people who used to be allies with you that are now essentially the opposite side, they're not your enemies, but they're your competitors. Why should they stop people coming over? And you say, well, we'll give you so many million. That will do so much. But they're not going to have French people arm in arm the full length of the coastline for us. Not for that kind of money. I don't know. Donald Trump would say, build a wall. But it's not. It's a massive lump of coastline. How easy is it to get a dinghy and 20 people to a beach somewhere in the dark, and off you go? And it's not that far in the grand scheme of things. So I don't know what the answer is. I think we have to make sure that nobody can land here unless we see them. We're supposed to have incredible technology that can read a number plate from space. Why can't we see dinghies? Why can't we see massive boats travelling across from the continent? We've got radar that shows up boats in general, so why can't we spend the money here to keep them out? Could we not have made better use of that money this side of the channel?
Well, if they stopped giving them everything for free, they wouldn't want to come here.
I think there's certainly an argument for that. And I know what they're saying now is they say, no, well, they go into a holding situation until we find out whether they're legally allowed to stay, whether they're at threat from wherever they come from. I just don't know how you prove that to anybody's satisfaction. Does that mean they've got to be here for 5 or 6 months before we work out whether they can stay or whether they can't? To me, if they're an illegal, the whole idea is you're supposed to stay in the first... Let's say you're from Iraq and you say, oh, it's dangerous at home. The whole idea is you should then go to the first safe country you come to. Well, that's not Britain. There's half a dozen between that they should have been held in or allowed to stay in. But instead, everybody doesn't want the problem in their country. So they say, where you going, Britain? Oh, okay. Go across the border. Go on, quick. Off you go. And I understand why they do. Because it saves them having to do anything about it. Let it be Britain's problem. And obviously, Europe being part of the European Union, and we're not, we're better. Let's put our illegals somewhere that doesn't affect the European Union, Britain. I don't know how people couldn't see that coming, because, it is fairly obvious that that's what was going to happen, and just nobody seems to have even thought about it prior to making those decisions. But that's how it's going to be, and we've got to be able to defend our shores. What would you do about it? Okay, you're saying tighten up on the rules of giving people stuff. What else would you do?
Sort of quite a hard one. I would think that they arrive here, no papers, no passports, no documents. They go on the next train, straight back through the tunnel.
Right, okay. Well, we'll see what the people say. David, good talking to you. Thank you for coming on.
If you start returning them, you know, then the ones that's trying to come over is going, oh, this time going.
Yeah, but the problem you've got with that is, you know, when you say send them back, what if the French say, no, they're in your country, we're not accepting them?
No, they've come from your country, they're yours.
Well, you can say that, but they're in Britain now, and there's no reason why the French would say, "Oh, well, they've got to you. They're your problem. They're not our problem. We're not taking them back." And they don't have to legally.
Yeah. The other thing is these people are supposed to be destitute, nothing, but they've all got thousands of pounds to pay the smugglers to get here.
Yeah, but a lot of them have sold every damn thing they've got in their life, their homes, their cars, their everything, to try and find a better life for themselves. So I'm not without sympathy for them, but they should just go about it the right way. And they're paying bad people everything they've got in the hope of a new life somewhere else. And they've heard that Britain is a good place to settle down. It's a wonderful place to live. But there's legal and illegal ways to do it. If it's illegal, I remember the Labour Party saying we want to find, I think it was 103,000 illegals. That was the target was 100,000. They found 103,000, and they all started going to court to decide it. Then eventually David Blunkett said, "Oh, let them all stay," which that to the rest of the world is, why doesn't everybody else come? The last illegals were allowed to stay. We'll probably be allowed to stay too. The wrong messages has been sent out of this country so many times, and it doesn't surprise me. But good talking to you, David. Thank you for calling. Migrants in the Channel, what do you do about it? 0191 488 3188. Let's talk to some more stars. Foreigner, great band, but let's ask them some questions that other people don't.
What is it that you guys are frightened of? You got any rational or irrational fears?
Oh, wow, that's so deep and wide. You know,
I thought you were talking about his backside again.
I think I think when you're an artist or an entertainer or musician or actor, I think one of your fears is never working again,
right?
Or that your well has dried up. That's a continual thing. Personally, I have a thing that I always think that I'm not good enough, and maybe that'll be with me till the day I die, or maybe I'll find a way to get past that. But maybe it's the thing that keeps driving me to never be satisfied as well.
Yeah, just sticking your current CD on there, then it'll kind of help, I'm sure. Mick, what about you?
Fears. I mean, I have the same kind of fears. You know, sometimes you get writer's block and you question yourself as to whether, you know, even with having written a number of classic songs, you know, still, you know, you get the moments when you think, how on earth did I do that? How did I do it?
Yeah.
But a funny little thing is, before I left England for the States, I saw this old fortune teller, and she was actually Sir Laurence Olivier's fortune teller.
Right.
And I thought, wow, that sounds pretty good. She must be pretty good, you know. And indeed she was. She forecast all my future, basically, from there.
Right.
Some of my past, you know, I was this, you know, swashbuckling knight in, you know, riding on this big horse in my past life, and that I immediately related to that. And but she also warned me. She predicted that I was going to leave for America. I was going to have some great success. And unbelievable, really. And but she said one thing at the end. She said, "Whatever you do, never set foot in Morocco." I mean, I don't know where that came from, but I've been invited to Morocco a number of times, you know, since then, and I've always refused it because she was so right on about the other predictions that.
Don't want to tempt Providence.
No, I don't want to disappear down there with those Arabs. You know.
Okay.
Higher grounds. I think that's what we need to do.
Right, we're going to check that. Climb the mountain instead. Anyway, if there was something following us, we're walking straight towards it now.
Yeah. Not the best.
Oh, bat. We're just moving quite quickly now, just so we can...
Yeah, we're going to get our signal back and go to higher grounds.
I just want to get as close to that place so I can tell you the story of all those people that died and the amazing way and reason why so many people died. And it's something that, it's just one of the great stories of all time, and how people in the north haven't heard it is incredible. So you're in for a treat with that tail. Oh. Just got to be careful not to stand on any of the wildlife while we're here. We've come a lot further than I thought from that split trail, I know. This is a witchy wood. And of course, when witches were told that there were people coming, especially witch finders, and remember, if a witch finder's told you're going to get a certain amount of money. We're back.
Yeah.
Ah,
Just would have been a black spot there.
Sorry, everybody, but when witches heard that a witch finder was coming, it's all right. I'm clumsy at the best of times. But when they heard that a witch finder was coming, obviously they just headed out to hide in the wildest country imaginable. Because if a witch finder gets a chunk of money for every witch they find, they're going to find loads of witches. Yeah, we're heading back up the hill, and there's a cut-off that takes us up, and it looks like almost a mountain. Look at, yeah. Oh, blimey. Just by taking the top trail, we'll not be able to get across to the other side, which is a bit of a shame. But we will be able to get, hopefully, to one of Willie's hideaways, or Dickie's hideaways, rather. Dickie of Westwood. Very famous in this part of the world. Most magistrates knew who he was, and certainly anybody that travelled the roads here about, because they'd get robbed by him. I think it's at the top of this bit. Yeah.
God.
Here we go. I remember Tony saying, oh, blimey. Remember Tony saying, we can't get lost, we just got to follow the river. Now we're walking away from the river. You are right, Ken. It's not often that happens. But which way do we go now? Do we go left? Or do we go right? To the top, okay. What's what? You see? What is that? What the hell is that? I'd rather not climb stairs.
Wonder where they lead.
I think to the same place. Yeah. Maybe it's been going off to drive us in a particular area. Do you know what I mean? Come on. If you're in here, show yourself. If you want to talk to us, talk to us. There's nothing more witchy, you know, than stumpy old trees. Look at that. The witches created, you know, when we saw that thing that I said it looks like somebody's built like a hunter's refuge. Yeah. The witches built themselves. They dug out in the hillside little caverns. Blimey, it's not higher than this, is it, Ken? Oh, thank heavens for that. Woo! And for the benefit of you guys, think yourself lucky you're comfy with your treats.
What is that? Oh, a unicorn.
It's a unicorn.
What is it?
It's a unicorn.
Seriously, what is
It's
that?
a unicorn. It's got a horn on the front.
That's what I thought. I was only joking with
No, it's a unicorn.
Don't be silly. It's a horse.
Is it a deer? It's a horse.
It's a horse.
But it's got a thing on the front.
It has. Can you see that, Tony?
I can't. I've just zoomed in.
Did it have a horn on its head?
Possibly.
But look at it's got something on the front of its head.
I know, that's right. If it's a cow, it'll be a horn. It cannot have it cannot be a unicorn.
Is that a cow?
What else is on there?
That's a horse. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Nothing
Oh,
else in
hang on,
it.
what's that there then? Is that a horse as well?
So,
Blimey, I'm getting twitchy.
I've got a horn on the front of its head.
It's probably just.
Look.
It's probably. I know.
Watch when it comes back up again. Yeah? Look.
Can you home in, Tony? It's heading
I've
in our
zoomed in.
direction.
Is it just like a little pony? They're coming across here, mind. They're coming here.
Oh, if it's got a horn.
They're coming across here. That's a little pony, isn't it?
Look at the size of it next to that other
It's a
thing.
little pony. Like a little mini pony.
Does you nearly drop everything?
Yes, nearly.
Do you think it's coming because of the light?
Yeah.
Come on then.
It's curious. Has that got a horn?
It looks like it
Has
has.
it got a horn, has it?
It looks like it
Can
has.
it have a horn, for heaven's sake?
It's its ears.
Come on, let's go and look in the dark. We've got dark places to go to. It's a horse. They say they got a horn or it hasn't. Let's see how far we can take this trail. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's creepy. Look down here, Tony.
What about the necromancer?
There's the stairs.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
my goodness. Kenny, you might want to add a bit of light to this. That's the trail we used to be on.
Yeah, down there. Right to the-
Come on, if there's anybody here, we want to see it.
This is why we lost signal.
Talk to us. We're in search of reavers. You a reaver? You just said stop. Is that what you used to shout to people when you were robbing them? I thought somebody just said Dick Turpin. Did you know of Dick Turpin? Come on. So, I am listening. There's snakes up here as well, so be careful. We're in Northumberland, there's adders, spiders and stuff. Careful.
He's more dominant than Usain Bolt was on the 100 metres on the track. I mean, he's just that much better than everybody else. Adam doesn't need to be at 100% to win this race. He needs to be at 90%, but I can guarantee you he will be at 100%.
Team GB have won medals in judo and taekwondo. That's the latest. I'm Matt Steele.
Thanks, Matt. Time for a second clue that could win you one of our legendary Night Owl mugs. You've got to work out 4 answers and then tell me what the 4 answers have in common. First clue is this. The band who had greatest hits with Love Train, I Love Music, Brandy, Used to Be My Girl, Backstabbers. They've had a lot of hits. What's the name of the band? Second clue. The singer of the James Bond film Tomorrow Never Dies. Who was the singer on the James Bond theme tomorrow never dies. 2 clues down, 2 more clues to come. See how wise a night owl you happen to be. Okay, let's go and talk. We got a legendary and incredible thing that's happened to a guy called Tony. Tell you more about that very soon. But Stefan from Newcastle is up next. Hi, Stefan.
Hi there, Alan.
Hello, mate. What do you want to talk about tonight? Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Just the ghost hunts are really good that you do on Thursday night.
I'm glad you're enjoying them, thank you.
A shame we're not on more than one night a week, though.
Right, well, I mean, just how many do you do and how many can you research properly? It does take a little bit of time to put together, but I'm glad you're enjoying them. That's the main thing.
Is it possible I can come on one of your ghost hunts?
Well, as I say, if you're a supporter of us, you just got to put your name in. It's as simple as that. So just give us a good reason why we should pick you. That's the thing. Why do you want to go on one then, Stefan?
Just something different. Just want to experience it.
That sounds good enough to me. Okay, make sure you get your name down then, Stefan. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, no worries. Anything else?
Is it possible I can get one of your night owls mugs up here?
Well, you got to win them. That's why they're a prize. So give it a try at the end of the show. There's a few more clues to come. The last one makes it very, very easy. But good luck to you, Stefan. Thanks for that. Now, so glad really that we're so close to midnight for this next caller, because as you know, after 40 odd years, suddenly a change for me, and it's a whole life changing, and everything in your whole world has to become something different. And that is exactly the situation that Tony is experiencing now, this very minute. Midnight, in fact, 8 minutes ago, Tony left the army after 24 years. Hiya, Tony. Hello, Tony. Hello, Tony. Left the army after 24 years at midnight tonight. Should be there somewhere. Last chance for Tony. Nope, he's not there. Going to have to move on. But we'd love to try and get him back, because the stuff going through his head must be incredible. And again, probably too early for it to have hit him. But we think we've got him back. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Alan, you all right?
Oh, there you are. Hey, well, first of all, thank you very much for everything you've done. Blimey, 24 years, you must have been everywhere.
Yes. I was talking to you last weekend, last Sunday.
Yeah, and you gave us a few of your stories, but you're out now. How does it feel? I mean, have you had a chance to feel free yet, or is it still a bit of a shock to your system?
Yes, it's a bit of a shock at the moment. I'm busy sitting out with my wife, Vanessa, having a bottle of carver, celebrating. But yes, it's a bit of a shock, but yeah, it's okay.
How are you going to cope? Because you're 24 years of being a commanding officer. Is that where the missus comes in?
Well, I wouldn't say she was a commanding officer, but yeah, I was a commanding officer.
I think she'll arm wrestle you for that, maybe.
Yeah. No. It's been a nice 24 years. I loved every minute. Yes, we've had some hard times, but it's been nice, and I'm looking forward to the next few years, hopefully.
Right, no, absolutely. Have you given any thought to what you're going to do?
Well, yes. Obviously, I was in your show last week and a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
We've got our own holiday lodges.
Yeah. And that's the future for you. You're going to run the lodges and live off on the back of that with your pension, or what have you?
Yes. And to be honest,
good.
Can I ask, Alan, roughly how many listeners do you get on a night time?
Oh, almost a dozen.
A dozen, okay. Okay, I was slightly disappointed because last weekend I was on your show, and I asked people to like and share my Facebook page and so on, and only one person
shared it.
Messengers private messages actually and say, look, I heard you on Night Owls, and and I want to like and share your Facebook page.
That's nice.
But I was a little bit disappointed nobody else did. So
right. Well, I mean, the thing is, people who they're here to listen. They're not here necessarily to for any other reason. We got a lot of people that have charitable needs. Sometimes they can get thousands of responses, sometimes not. It's very hit and miss. You never know, and it's not even down. You know, we've been in situations where we've had literally millions of listeners across a week, and with that being the case, some things they go for, some things they don't, and it depends whether they like the cut of your jib or whatever. So it's hit and miss. If that's what is that why you came on, just because you wanted to?
No. I came on purely because today is my last day in the army,
right.
And I'm really want to celebrate the fact that
That's
I've
good.
done like 24 years in the army.
No, absolutely. It's a lot to be proud. It's a lot to be proud of, man.
It is.
You should be very happy about that.
Sorry, my wife and I was putting in there.
That's all right.
Do more than you have to do. So
No, absolutely. How are you going to cope, lass, though? Because you've been able to get shot of him for months at a time. How are you going to cope?
well, you know what it is. It's been a nice. I mean, obviously, me and Tony have been together most of his career. And it's been absolutely lovely, but I think when he's getting older and being a pad's wife, as we will say, and having pad rap, it's like no more. It's a nice feeling to feel that you are now sort of in the community and sort of being a civilian, and you don't have to have people like you. You don't have to have people who. It's a very funny feeling. It's been ups and downs as an army wife, and I honestly be very truthful about it. And so I think, I mean, I've always been a full supporter of Tony's career.
Sure.
And obviously put my own career and everything on the back burner. And obviously being a mum and being a wife, and I think it's been very, very important.
Right.
So, but it's very nice now that I'm now going to be like sort of looking at my career now, and I think like when he's coming out and doing this now, it's now my turn.
That's
So,
great. I hope it works out that way. Good luck to you. That's a lovely way of looking at it as well. It's your turn. Absolutely, it's your turn.
Definitely, and obviously the business as well. It's a nice little backup as well. So,
sure.
But yes, we've had like some good news this week and things. So it's been So it's turning on to me basically.
Yeah.
So so Tony's going to be doing the school runs. He's going to be doing all of this now, and I'm going to be the one who's like sort of doing my own thing.
No, that's good. I hope you're going to get a little bell so that when you ring it, he can come running.
Oh well. Have you ever heard about ringing the bell in the Met? That could be really, really sort of cost a lot of money.
Yeah, I hear what you say. Hey, but lovely. Look after each other. Congratulations and thanks for coming on. Good to hear from you again. Take care. Bye-bye. How nice is that? She's got a man full time and she's going to do the bird darndest with it by the sound of things. It's all good. Now, about immigrants, Anne has a message. Just a radical idea, says Anne. If you stop bombing their countries or selling them weapons, then they might just be at home, safe in their own beds. Nice one, Anne. 0191 488 3188. It is an amazing double standard. Let's go and render their country to rubble and then wonder why they're a tad annoyed with us. 0191 488 3188. We want to hear from you about everything. And Sue is with us in Washington. Hello, Sue.
Hello, Alan.
Hello there. What are you talking about tonight, Sue?
about families being a bit weird.
Oh, yeah, good, do tell. I was going to say Sue's bound to ring.
It's about my mum, really. I mean, she's got well, not a weird habit, but just a strange habit.
And what is it that she does then, Sue?
Well, I'm pleased she lives in Norfolk, actually, because no one knows her. Thank God.
Pass it back, everybody. Pass it back. Right.
What it is, I mean, I don't know if it's a thing that happens, like when you get of a certain age. Right. I mean, do your farting clappers like get weaker or something? Because that is that's all she does. She's only got to move and it just pops out, you know.
Right.
And she'll be walking along, and she's going. As she's walking along, you know, and it just pops out.
Does she not just need a good oiling? Is that what, you know, come on.
No, she needs a cork. That's what she needs.
A cork, I know. Because I must say, the only person that I've ever met, I will play me up, daresn't give his name, one of the first foreign holidays I ever had, it was like a lad's trip to Spain. And one of the lads that went with me, who shall remain nameless, just because it's not fair, he was a sizable lad at the time. I think he shrunk down a little bit over the years, but he was really very heavy. And because he worked at the same place, because it was all lads from where I worked at the time. And he worked in a different office, and he was always sitting down when I saw him. And occasionally we'd play football, and I wasn't aware of it because of the noise of people shouting and yelling and bawling and stuff. When we got on holiday, while he was walking to the airport to put his bags in, you know, for the plane, it was a... And, you know, what do you say? Yeah, what the hell is that? So he didn't say anything. Then he got off the plane. Then he's walking to the pool with some drink. And he says, I can't help it. It's happened for the last 4 or 5 years. And I'm thinking, is it to do with your weight, do you think? You know, because best friends should talk honestly, because you are fairly heavy. He said, I'm trying to lose a bit of weight. And all the way through the holiday, it started off being funny. But when you're sharing a room with a lad... and you've got to keep the windows shut for the mosquitoes. Come on. Help! That was a different thing altogether then.
Honestly, my mum, she's only, if she moves, that just pops out, you know, and it's like... you know, and...
Could you imagine the tidal wave of noise when you were born, Sue? Can you imagine? It's a good job they were wearing masks in that theatre.
She always says that she never done it when she was younger.
Really?
You know, and it's just like... now she's got older, it just slips out. But, I mean, because I never use the phone anymore, we always use the Echo Show.
Right.
But not only do we get the noise now, because when we used to use the landline and phoner, you could hear her doing it, you know, and you're like, oh, Mum, I heard that, you know. But now, not only do we hear it, but you get the action as well.
Yeah, oh dear. But you see, to me, it did cause a bit of an issue, because at one point, and I remember it was about 4 days in the holiday, it was his turn to buy the lunches, because, you know, we're sharing it. I'll get this round in. Tomorrow it's you, and da-da-da. And he comes walking to the table carrying 2 trays of food for us all. And you're thinking, I'm going to have to eat this now, you know. And I know it's not tainted, and I know, you know, that it's just a faulty exhaust in the grand scheme of things, but oh, blimey. I did have sympathy with him, but I would have thought when he swam, it would act a bit like an outboard motor, and he'd be really...
I speed along now. But there's my daughter, she's got a terrible habit. You'll say to her, oh, Liz, just ask her to do something. And it's a habit which I cannot stand it. She goes, in a bit. And an hour later, she still hasn't done it, you know. And I'm like, oh, God. And my husband's got another a strange habit because he's into his computers and he's built he's built his own stack, his tower and that, you know.
Right.
But he loves it that much. He's got 3 monitors on his table.
Right.
So on one of them, he's playing Minecraft. One of the others, he's watching YouTube or something. And then there's something on the other one. And then he has his Galaxy Tab as well. And his mobile phone. So he's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screens. I don't know how he concentrates.
No.
And then the telly will be on because he said, oh, I like the background noise. You know, and I'll ask him a question and he'll go, right, all right. And I went, what did I just say, Bill? And he's going, oh, I didn't hear you. You know, oh, God.
Yeah, isn't it funny? You can manage to hear 7 or odd screens, but as soon as you talk, I missed that completely.
Yeah, it's another habit of his because he's just got himself. Well, my daughter paid half, so he's got his shed, but he's pretty nifty in the shed. Like he's built like a workbench and drawers and tables and stuff. And so, but when he goes out in the shed, he'll have the telly on, and he'll go out and he'll leave the telly on. And I'm like, oh.
And if you change the channel or you switch it off, you'd say, why did you switch that off? I was watching it.
Yeah.
That's just out of order. Mind you, next time he's got all them screens on and he's not listening to you.
Yeah.
Just go to where your cupboard is with the electric and just knock the fuse. Oh, that must be a faulty fuse. Sorry, but then he's going to start doing them all again. Can you hear me now? Oh, that's the way to do that, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely. And next time your daughter says, he says, in a minute.
In a bit, yeah.
When she wants her dinner, just say, in a bit, and then completely forget about it. Got a bit of educating needs going on in that house, I think.
Yeah. Alan, there was one thing I was going to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like any of those pins that I made again?
They're great. I mean, I'm happy to pass them out if you want to. That's no
that'll
problem.
give me something to do. I'll get some more equipment and do them then. And then, I mean, as long as people like them. I mean, I've never heard any feedback from anyone.
I mean, I've had a few people saying, "Oh, I loved that. It was a really pleasant surprise to see this." So people did enjoy them. So hey, don't have any doubts about that.
All right. Well, I'll make some more then.
All right. That's
okay.
Lovely. Hey, well, thank you, Sue.
That's all right, Alan. Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye. Chris the Truck's been on and says, hi, Alan. I saw the migrant crisis coming. I used to drive trucks in Europe. And before Brexit, the French police presence around the ports at Calais and Dunkirk was massive. They moved the huge refugee camps at Calais down to Paris. Now, I haven't been across the channel for a few years, so I imagine all of those resources have been relocated elsewhere in France. I almost guarantee that the camps will be back in Calais, because why would they want a load of migrants in their capital city? And it's the truck drivers I feel for. I used to feel so much trepidation, and that was pre-Brexit with the police protection, heading towards the ferry or train, wondering if there was a mob waiting to force you to slow down enough for them to climb onto your truck. It must be terrible now. Cheers, Chris the Truck. Truck drivers, wise enough. They saw it coming. Why didn't the government? 01914 488 3188. Now, time for our next caller, and that is Janet, who's from Blythe. Hello, Janet.
Hi, Alan.
Hello,
How are you
love.
doing?
I'm good, thank you very much. I gather congratulations is in order.
Thank you. I'm so pleased.
Well, tell everybody the news.
Well, what it is my daughter struggled with special needs for years and years. I mean, went to special school. It hasn't been easy for her, bless her. About February, March, she came to visit in tears because she's a qualified florist,
right?
As is me. And she volunteered in a few flower shops about 3-4 years ago and became subject to bullying, which is absolutely disgusting. But it made her go into deep depression. Of course, with her special needs, it didn't help either.
Right.
So she came to visit in about February, March time and said to us, well, she was pulling herself down, basically, Alan, saying, I'm useless, I can't do it. And I said to her, right, stop, just stop. I said, there's two ways you can go with this one. You either turn it around and you do something about it, or you just carry on in your little, like, you know, I'm useless, carry on, and in 10 years' time, they'll be still sitting, saying the same thing. And she was going, well, there's nothing I can do, nobody will help us. So I put her in touch with the Princess Trust, who, like, worked with her for a little bit, and she opens a flower shop next Monday.
Isn't that amazing? Congratulations. Yeah. What's it called and where is it, Janet?
It's called Flowers by Louise, inspired by you.
Right.
And it's in Blythe.
Whereabouts in Blythe?
It's in Stanley Street.
Stanley Street.
Yeah.
That's just off the centre, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Lovely.
Proper excited for Alan. And do you know what? I mean, to me, I just so wanted to work for her because it just goes to show that people who have got learning difficulties can pull through the other side of it.
That's brilliant. How I presume you're painting the shop and getting everything right?
Well, no, actually, we've been round the bend and back again, and we've looked at quite a few rents through the roof. We've actually getting a place that is got other company, other like sort of shops inside, on different floors. So it's like a big house. It's really lovely.
Tremendous.
So it's all been done for us.
That's great.
So it's amazing. So I'm just so proud of her, and just can't wait on Monday for her to open next Monday.
So next Monday, Flowers by Louise.
Inspired by you.
Inspired by you. That's great. So what kind of stuff she doing? Obviously flowers and presumably flower deliveries and that kind of thing?
Yes, the half flowers, weddings, funerals. I mean, totally level 3 qualified florist. I'm volunteering for her, so she doesn't have to pay anybody else's wages. She's...
and I'm just writing that down. Janet's cheap, right?
Janet's cheap.
Gotcha.
Basically, Janet comes free. Which is like, you know...
it's lovely to have a helping hand of somebody that knows what they're doing as well.
Well, of course, it is. And I mean, you know, I'd do anything for my kids. So, you know, she does artificial flowers, everything that you can imagine a florist does, she does.
Excellent. And it's opening Monday, what time?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Who's going to be the first one through the door? Come on. There's a challenge for you, Blythe. Flowers by Louise, inspired by you.
Yeah.
Stanley Street in Blythe. Make sure you pop along and have a look, please, and say hi and wish them well and all that kind of stuff. Tremendous. Hey, no worries, Janet. Good luck to the pair of you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. How nice is that? Let's dedicate a song. And, yeah. But first of all, I suppose we should talk to a star, because the stars come out at night. Here's Alison Moyer talking about the thing that we wish Alison and Louise, and that is success.
It's the overnight success that took you years to get to the point where you suddenly became known and but you were completely, I mean, not just the music was completely against the trend of what was happening at the time, but you certainly were, where everybody had to be like 5'1", tiny, wearing a little miniskirt, and here's this lady that can boom it out, and you were just completely the opposite of what was happening there.
Well, kind of I was. I mean, when I was solo, I think that you could say that. But actually, if you look back to those Yazoo years, you know, it was a completely different industry. I mean, there weren't many rare beauties. I mean, even the women that were there to be the eye candy weren't that in comparison with what is expected now. You know, there was a lot of, there were a lot of odd-looking people during that time. And so in that sense, I don't think, I mean, I wasn't even at my heaviest when I was in Yazoo, but by a long shot. So I don't think I stood out that much. But as a solo singer in a more kind of mainstream environment, that's when I think it started to notice that, that I didn't quite fit.
But you had the chops. That was the difference. You had this voice that kind of lurks inside you like a demon, and you'd keep letting it out from time to time. And we've been loving it. You had absolute string of hits. Everything you touched turned to gold for a few years. Yeah. And to be honest, that most acts, and I mean the majority of acts, that never happens to. You know, where You just got to say, who's it by? Alison Moyet. Well, it's got to be on the playlist because it's Alison. Do you know what I mean? And that's the way that it was. And I know it's a fickle business. And as the years go on, it's harder to achieve that because you got to be in everybody's face all the time.
Absolutely.
The whole show business thing has changed. But how did you fit in where fame's concerned? Did you like it? Was this something that you got a kick out of?
Well, going back to what you were saying earlier, I mean, the show business thing has changed, but I think the trajectory of my career was not so surprising in that, that everyone has their period, who becomes successful has their period in the front light, and that has to kind of move on. It is a business made of sine waves. I mean, you look at someone like Elton John, who's been so massive, and I remember when he kind of fell below the radar, where, and this is one of our great talents, you know. So in that sense, I have no issue with it. The fame thing, I didn't find it as appealing as you're led to believe. Certainly not for someone like me. Maybe had I been someone that like you say fitted in easier, it would have been better. But
so you just got on with it by the sound of things.
Well, it's not even that I got on with it. I sort of did my job and then went home. I just stayed out. I just stayed out of the limelight. I didn't go partying. I didn't hang out with anyone. I just went home.
Tell us your name. Tell us your name. Tell us your name. If you're a Reaver, tell me your name. Are you a Charlton? Are you a Milburn? Are you a Robson? Are you a Campbell? Just along. We're walking to the battle site. Any of you fight in the battle? There's a major battle here. Were you in it? Something dark along here. Yeah. It's almost like somebody being assaulted there, wasn't it? Did you get hurt here? Who's the lady? Oh, were you a witch? Were you a witch? I know. That's an American voice. Why is it an American voice? Are you from the Americas? I think because we're getting witch-related stuff on the Romancer, it's probably worth me telling you the story that was based around here. A woman from Hexham was arrested. She was a lovely woman. She lived out in the countryside, not from Hexham, but one of the small villages, like Acombe or Chollerford. Yeah. She was from one of the small villages. And what was that? Gossamer. Spider's web. So this woman was just a lovely woman, and she used to deliver the babies, used to help cure people and deal with that. And the witch finder came and said to the people, look, unless you give me the names of people who are witches, I'll just take some of you and you can be the witches. So of course, this was everybody's excuse to name all the people they didn't like, and all the people that were doctors of the time, they pointed to these herbal healers and they said, we're going to have to wipe out these because then we'll get more business. So they pointed out this woman from, as I say, Hexham in the general sense of the word, and they put her in a cell in the prison that we got on camera for our supporters a little bit earlier on. And they locked her away. And she was asking for a day in court, and of course she would never have got one. And
it's a house.
It's a house, I think. I think it's just a halogen. But so they locked her away, and the witch finder was out. Hopkins himself and his people were out doing the other small villages, picking people up and dragging them all back to Hexham. And when they got them back to Hexham, they went to the woman's cell and they opened the door and the woman was gone. But at the window was a huge magpie sitting on the windowsill. And of course, when the guards went to try and catch it, it flew out the window and it was away. Now, Hopkins was called to say the witch turned herself into a magpie and she flew off. But the truth was, some of the people in the town loved her. They delivered, maybe some of the people she delivered as babies because she'd been there, a lot of years, and they'd sneaked her out. However, Hopkins came in and looked outside, and on a rooftop, there were 7 magpies. And one of the magpies was twice the size of all the other magpies. Hence the rhyme that you will know.
1 for sorrow, 2 for joy.
1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy, 5 for
silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret never to be told.
The secret was they sneaked her out. So we only know that because of the Magpie TV show, of course.
Yeah, we do.
But it was all based around that story right here in the north. Amazing.
I wonder if that's got anything to do with Newcastle being called the Magpies.
I wouldn't have thought so. Unless they've put a curse on them.
Might have.
Because I just heard that they've put off the talking about the damn thing for another week. Hell's teeth. The thing is, funnily enough, when you get to see a bit of field,
yeah,
it's almost reassuring because down there was pitch. Well, can you hear that? Horses' hooves.
Yeah.
Did you hear horses' hooves?
That was.
That's how I took it. Did you catch that?
You know what? How I would describe that? As a coal truck. You know when you hear a coal truck on the railway lines, and it goes. It was a bit like that.
I thought it was horses' hooves on cobbles.
It might have been. But it was that kind. That's the noise that.
Because if you're a reaver, you'd be riding a horse.
Could be that, man.
Be interesting to see if anybody caught that at home. We're watching for every shape and every
third clue, and then 20 minutes after that, you'll have the final clue, so you can have a go trying to win our prize tonight. The first clue is the band who had greatest hits with Love Train, I Love Music, Brandy, Used to Be My Girl, Backstabbers, and a host of other corking tunes. What was their name? Second clue, the singer of the James Bond theme, Tomorrow Never Dies. So 2 clues down, 2 more to come. And we've been talking about, well, oddballs. My family is weird, ... It is no surprise at all that Alison from Anfield Plain is on the end of the phone. Hi, Alison.
Hi there, Alan. How are you doing?
Oh, I just don't know how long we've got. Okay. So.
Well, it's just, as soon as I saw it pop up on Facebook, we started having the conversation, and the conversation is still going.
I can imagine. So, what weirdos and wackos have you come up with then?
Well, I've got one in particular, which is and he's got lots of weird things that he does.
Right.
And he knows what I'm going to say, so he's fine about it.
Okay.
But we've got a list. I've got pages and pages, so would you just like me to pick a few?
No, dive in, please. Do share. So who is this? Is it husband,
it's Rob,
brother?
It's the hubby.
It's the husband.
Yeah.
Right.
And I didn't realise how weird he was till tonight.
Until once you write it all down on the same bit of paper and it keeps going over the page.
Especially when it first popped up and we said, oh, what could I talk about? Weird traits? I've got none. So have you got any? And that's when it started to come.
And away you go. So, so what do you come up with?
Well, one of the things that he does, he can't bear anything on his fingers. So he loves Wotsits, and he has a special fork for his Wotsits.
That's brilliant.
It's like a little like dessert fork, and he can't eat a packet of Wotsits unless he's got his fork with him.
Oh, bless. And this is, for those that did not know, Wotsits are kind of like slightly longer cheesy poofs. That's what we're talking about here. So you would therefore get the dust, the orange dust, the almost radioactive dust on your fingers.
Yeah, and he just can't bear anything. He can't have anything sticky on his fingers. He can't bear anything on his hands. He can't get messy.
It begs a million questions from his past, but we'll leave that and move swiftly on. So he's got a fork for his Wotsits. That's my Wotsit fork, right?
He can't mix his foods.
What do you mean?
So, like, if he has, like, say if you have, like, fruit and ice cream.
Right.
He'll have, like, his fruit in one bowl and his ice cream in the other.
Right, okay. So what about, like, dinners? Is it the same with dinners? He couldn't have hot with cold?
No, he can have hot with cold, but he doesn't like them, like, touching. So his plate's he has quite a big plate, and it's like little piles.
Why does he not like them touching? If a hot tatie's next to a hot carrot or something, what's the problem?
Yeah, he doesn't. No, he wouldn't have that at all. I've thought about getting him one of them. Do you know the little kids' plates that's got the little dividers on?
What does he do, though? If he says, I'm going to take you out for a meal. Oh, by the way, I'd like to order a little bit of carrot, but don't let anything touch it.
What he'll do when it comes is he'll, like, separate it out a bit. So he can go out for a meal and he can do things like that, but he'll kind of, like, separate it out a bit.
Gotcha. Right. And he'll not be happy to eat it until it's all in its neat little... What a faff. That's a faffy man.
Oh, it's proper OCD he has, but we laugh about it. So we've never really, like, thought this is weird until we started doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. So
until you started this.
All right, it's my job to generate conversation.
Now I'm going to even get him the T-shirt.
Right.
I am weird T-shirt.
Well, I mean, it's official. It has to be said.
It is.
Right. So is it all food related or?
No. There's lots of different things.
Like?
He's got a real phobia about his belly button. He thinks that if something touches his belly button, it's going to go through. As in, like, go pop.
So have you ever wet willied it?
Oh, all the time. I try to catch him on the way. And it's like, it really drives him nuts.
Because you just would, wouldn't you? If you knew there was somebody obsessed with the belly button, you'd wet willy it at every opportunity.
Yeah, and he gets really, really, like,
annoyed
upset about it.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Because he is genuinely fearful that it's just going to pop.
What you should do is you should say, we're going to the swimming baths, but before you go, have 2 bits of gaffer tape cut so there's a big cross over his belly button so that nobody can get to it.
Near his belly button.
Oh, dear. That's so he thinks it'll go back in, like it'll open up again, like his umbilical's going to just undo.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't know what's happened to him as a child. So
he's got issues. He's been badly bullied, and it's school dinners. I don't know what the hell he made of that, but
I know.
Okay, so keep going.
Right,
let's nail him.
If he hears Nelson Mandela, he has to sing like Free Nelson Mandela, and he has to do it.
He has to do it. Yeah. I mean, he can't let it go.
No, he can't let it go. And even if, like, if it's on the telly, he has to, like, do it quietly. Yeah. Like, if there's other people about.
It is an obsessive kind of thing, man. All of this is obsessive behaviour.
Oh, it is. It's all OCD. Like, he has to have the cups a certain way in the cupboard. He has to have, The dishwasher, if I put the dishwasher in, he'll empty it and fill it his way. So I just don't do it anymore.
Well, I mean, that's his fault. He's
That's what
made
I
a
keep
rod.
saying.
He's made a rod for his own back there, hasn't he?
Yeah.
That serves him right.
He has to put stripes in the grass. So if I could, it's so funny because if I mow the lawn, it's hilarious because I mow it like a Hoover.
Yeah, you just yeah. So
in
it's
every
just done.
direction and and I
Right.
watch him and he like squirms.
Well,
And
that's
it's,
another thing that would make him do it then, wouldn't he? So I'll have to go over that and then put his stripes in or whatever.
Yeah, so I just don't do it very well. And it's like things if he's been away, because his garage is set up really precise, and he
Oh.
knows where everything is, and it's really like strange because if I'll say to him, normally you would say like, oh, I've lost a connector or I've lost a charger or something. He can say, oh, it's in the third box in the loft, second box down, it'll be in there.
Whoa.
And I'm like, whoa,
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say,
he's
that's-
always right.
That's dangerous in its way, though, because one day you're going to move his wrench 2 inches to the left and you're going to be in big trouble.
No, that's what I do.
Or you do it
I
on
go into the
purpose.
garage. Yeah. I go in the garage and I like turn screwdrivers around and things like that because they're all in like drawers and they're all placed on special things and whatever. So I like turn them round and, like take one out and put it somewhere else.
My dad was kind of like that because he knew where everything was, even the garage. I say garage, we never had a car, but we had a little shed in the backyard.
Yeah.
And on that he had all of his boxes and his workbench and, all that kind of stuff. And he knew where everything, and I mean everything was. But if I was you, you'd really mess with his head, wouldn't you?
I do.
Yeah, I absolutely would too. It's because he's
But
begging
it's
for
kind
it.
of what makes it funny. It makes you be able to live with somebody with OCD and with kind of.
But does he not get angry when the screwdriver's not on the wall where he put it? It's on the bench
because
or
I
whatever.
just fall about laughing. I just it kind of breaks the
edge.
the edge, but it really does make him mad.
But there's got to be something about you, Alison, to be honest, that he goes mad about. Other than the fact that you're goading him over his various obsessions, there's got to be something.
That's probably what drives him nuts. Because I do like the cups in the cupboard and things like that. I'll put them all opposite ways, and I'll not put them all in the same size. And
Is he a tin piler? Like all the beans got to
Yeah.
be front facing and whatever.
yeah.
Blimey. But you see, these are the people
totally
that
the opposite.
these are the people that murder you. I've seen the film. Is it Sleeping with a Stranger? Or what's that film with?
Oh.
Do you remember Sleeping with the Enemy? It was called. And
Well, if there's 1 week I don't phone in, come check.
but wherever you are, you'll be neat. That's the only thing we can guarantee.
Yes.
You'll be in the freezer neat. That's the thing.
Or under the patio.
I don't think
That's
you would
been
dig it up.
mentioned before.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, he's already planning. He's already
I might
he's already got that one on the list, right? My goodness.
I might have to be careful here.
No, it's just that if you've ever seen that film, Sleeping with the Enemy, it's
I haven't, but I don't know whether I maybe should watch it or not.
check it out because it's about she had to put her beans tins in order, and he became super obsessive with telling her what to do and what to wear and what to say, and
I wouldn't dare.
It just got well. There you go. You see,
We're not that far.
no, I don't think so. I think
If
you
it starts
did.
to get like that, I'll let you know.
You do for sure. I've
And the
never
other thing
been.
I was-
I've never been that way. That kind of, to me, tin of beans goes in the cupboard. I'll find it eventually
too.
when I go looking for it. That's for me. But I think that's probably you too. And it's.
Yeah.
But now you
I'm just
always know
relaxed.
where your beans are. You always know where the soup is.
Yeah.
So I suppose all of that's handy when you're doing your
does,
shopping. You know.
It does come in handy and it's quite useful.
Okay. Anything else, Ali?
The other thing I was going to talk about was the vaccine passports.
Yeah. Where do you stand on that malarkey?
Going down
then?
a dark thing. I think it's ridiculous.
Hmm.
And I don't think it's fair on the people who make the choices that they do, because the people who make the choices not to have the vaccine have their own reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're going to be discriminated in such a massive way. And it's kind of like we are now being, all through like our lives, it's been, you should put this in your body, you shouldn't. And then a year later, it's like, oh, don't put that in your body, that's not good for you. Do this instead. And it's always been like the experts that said that.
Yeah.
And now there's certain people who are choosing not to put something into their body, which is their own body. And I know the whole thing of we should be coming together and trying to fight this and whatever, but I just think by giving everybody a vaccine passport, the discrimination against the people who decide not to have the vaccine, for whatever reason that may be.
But do you not think this is a way that government's punishing the people that didn't do what they were told?
Yeah,
And
it's like dictatorship, isn't it?
You can forget the rights and wrongs of whether you should or you shouldn't have taken the vaccine. Freedom of speech and all of that. We're allowed freedoms to make up our own mind, and you can hear the evidence, and you should make up your own mind.
Make your own decision.
That sounds perfectly fair.
Which is on like your own body.
But you have to remember. You have to remember though that this freedom business is a myth. Freedom is a myth, and I only say that because radio and television and newspapers were all told at the very beginning, you don't have an opinion.
Yeah.
You go the government route, or you'll be pulled, or you sure will be pulled. Now, in my lifetime, that's never happened.
Yeah.
In my
and that's
lifetime,
scary,
that's never
isn't it?
happened. But you don't have an option. You go, this is the government lane. For the safety of everybody, you should do this, and therefore, and then you're told, and the vaccines work and they're effective, and they're now. Usually, on a talk show anywhere, you would give both sides and let the public make up their mind. We haven't been able to. We've been living under emergency conditions, so therefore MPs don't have to vote on it. The government just bring it in, and now. All of those people that decided, I'm not going to go along with this for whatever reason, it may be health reasons, they're frightened of the vaccine. Some people are. I've had both and I'm feeling champion, but that doesn't stop other people. Not everyone's the same. So I understand that. And the government now are saying, well, if you haven't had both, therefore we'll penalise you in pubs, restaurants, cinemas, football, cricket, golf. Wherever people are, you can't go now.
Yeah. That's
scary.
It's kind of like, how far is this going to go? And that's like the scary point. But I just think it's so sad for the voice of the people who aren't getting the double vaccine, going down that route, or even the people who have family members who've had reactions to it, and now they're scared of it. Because that's another big thing, and it's kind of like there's no way for a voice for that.
It's scary in numerous ways, and yet if you look at it another way, it doesn't really change much, because let's say it's foreign. For me, it was, I would love a break, just to go somewhere, put down the tools for a week or two, just forget about all the stresses and strains, and I've got as many as anybody else, and they're all equally scary. They're all the demons in the dark, and I'd like to put them down. And my choice was, do I get both of them, and then I can go somewhere?
Yeah.
Give me both of them. I'll do it now. Get them done, so that.
But in a way, that's a bribe, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. I don't deny it. On the back end of that, you say, well, okay, now I want to go to. And insert any 3 or 4 places you want to go.
And I can't.
And you can't. So that was a myth too.
Yeah.
And we're still there. And to be honest, do you want to go to a country where everybody's masked up and you can't go to any event? Well, who in their right mind would pay for a holiday under those circumstances? You sit on what little money you've got because you don't want to waste it. So who knows where we'll be another 2 years down the line. But you got to remember, we're nearly 2 years down the line now.
Yeah.
In the great scheme of things, we're not that far away.
Scary, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like it's amazing how much like our physiology and our mental perception of things has changed.
And I think young people growing up, some people who are like 13, 14, 15, don't know any different.
Yeah.
And for them to say, oh, we're going to all take our masks off now, they're all kind of going, what?
It's more the fear that there's been indoctrinated with it. You just think that for a younger person, well, like we always talk about when we were young, how free we were.
Absolutely.
I feel as if my generation was probably the last, or one of the freest generations, because we weren't scared to go out. There wasn't the internet. We weren't all of these things, and it's kind of over the years that fear has been put in. And I've had friends that have had kids of different ages who react all differently to even just going out on their own, going to the local supermarket, paying for things at a counter. It's all these fear. And now we're going to have a generation that is completely and utterly immersed in not just fear of the things that the internet had caused and all the other things, but fear of actually living.
And
fear of.
But they're going to be more. They're going to be more compliant though, because they've grown up obeying. And is that what it's all about? And the older generations who've seen a bit of life, they're all thinking, well, we're going to have this. And then the young ones are saying, but this is how it is.
Yeah. I was watching the Winston Churchill film the other day.
Yes.
And
if it's the one I'm thinking of, it's a good film.
It's an excellent film. And, it's something that everybody should watch. But it was quite emotional. Because I just thought back then, the way decisions were made and things like that, it was so much more for the people. And it like the scene where they're going to the train and he gets the people to decide, and it was factual, so he actually did that. And said to the people, what do you want? Do you want to fight for your country? And it wasn't the politicians that made that decision, it was the actual people.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like we are so
far away from
gone from that now that I think the people, if you took a little small selection of people and said, what do you actually want? They would say, oh, what are the ramifications going to be if I say that?
Yeah, we're thinking
rather than what I actually want.
We're thinking rather than going with our gut now, more than we ever
which
have.
It just makes me want to just stand up and shout from the rooftops and just say, just live your life.
Live your life, absolutely.
Live your life.
Good idea. Thanks for coming on, Alison. Great to hear from you.
Speak to you soon, and if I don't phone, give me a call.
I understand. Bring the shovel to the patio. I know exactly what to do. Thanks, Alison. Take care. Bye-bye. Is she a threat? Oh, she could be. Anyway, quick news, and then we're back talking to you on 0191 488 3188.
But we know there's wild stuff, so
yeah.
I mean,
we've heard by loads of spider webs.
Well, there'll be no shortage of them out here. Are we still holding on?
Yes, we're on.
Good. Whoa! Up! Don't take yours off, Ken. Oh no, put yours back on. Second tree to the right. No. Second. You see the first tree?
Yeah.
Ah, you moved it. Kenny, move back this way.
I do it there.
There.
Yeah.
Looking around the second tree.
That one there.
Yeah. There's a.
Really like that.
No, lift it up. There.
There.
There you go. He's just put his head in and head out. Look. Tony, can you get that? Just look around the second tree. Full figure. Could be my eyes are playing tricks with me, but that's what it looks like. You seen that? Are you getting it, Tony? Oh, it's gone. Ah, it's gone.
It was just
Ah. Oh, it'll be interesting to see if any night owls caught that. It was like someone with a hood. Yeah.
I think I caught something on the right, in between the trees.
Yeah.
I definitely, yeah.
With a hood. Like you know how if you had a, I don't want to say Red Riding Hood or nuns or anything, but you know that kind of, yeah, you just took it. Yeah. Because I said second tree, and if you look, now that we're close to them, I didn't even see the third tree at the time. Did you hear that?
I heard a noise.
Some stones just been thrown. Did you catch it, Tony?
I'm not sure. I wasn't watching.
And we're round about where she, I think it was a she. Could have been a he. Looked like a hood, I know. But would men would wear hoods?
Yeah.
I saw Russell
These
Crowe.
trees here, wasn't it?
It was that one. In fact, I know what I'm going to do. Signs that could be pinning as well, yeah. If they were pin, you know, look. See?
Oh, yeah.
They've grown up over the years. Right, I'm going to...
Really smell as well.
Right, let's see if we can try the ghost radar. See if we can get any of that. It's just loading. I've just heard a growl. Did you hear a growl?
And it's also a noise.
Just heard a growl there. Because it was here, it was right here. Right, let's see if we get anything here. I'll point in the direction of where, if we get anything. It says nothing located. Nothing located. Come on.
Got into difficulty while swimming in the water yesterday evening. Our correspondent Inzi Rashid is in Glasgow, where relatives have issued a statement.
They say that the family is heartbroken at the death of our charming young boy in what was a tragic drowning accident on Saturday. Haris Ali was the loveliest little boy.
Mr Raz's 7-year-old son is currently in intensive care. 2 London hospitals have urged people to attend other A&E departments if possible because of flooding. Whipps Cross and Newham hospitals say they're working to solve the issues. The trust which runs them has declared a major incident. UK coronavirus cases have fallen for a 5th day in a row. Just over 29,000 new positive tests were recorded in the past 24 hours. It compares to 48,000 this time a week ago. And Stand & Calling Music Festival had to be abandoned because of serious flooding. 15,000 ticket holders were urged to leave the site in Hertfordshire as soon as possible last night. From Sky News, I'm Matt Steele.
Thank you, Matt. Alan Robson with you. Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. Thank you for being with me. Now, time for a third clue that could win you one of our legendary mugs. Clue number 1, the band who had greatest hits with Love Train, I Love Music, Brandy and a lot of other stuff. Second clue, the singer of the James Bond theme to the film Tomorrow Never Dies. The third clue, had greatest hits with Mean, Shake It Off and Look What You Made Me Do. Okay, who had greatest hits with Mean, Shake It Off and Look What You Made Me Do? 3 clues in one there, but who had the greatest hits with them? You're 3 clues in, you're going to get your 4th clue in about 15 to 20 minutes. A lot of stuff coming in too. Tony's been on, says the party line at the moment is that everybody has to be vaccinated to protect the whole population. Well, I'm afraid it's completely false. Having the double vaccine does not prevent you catching or passing on COVID-19. It only makes the symptoms less serious and lowers hospital admissions. If you chose not to have the vaccine, how are you endangering anybody else? This is one more experiment in controlling the masses. That's what Tony says. There you go. And Chris has been on from Bonnie, Scotland, and says, still listening to you every Sunday since finding you again, also watching you on YouTube from Edinburgh, but originally from Wallsend. My daughter and I was wondering about the rings that you have on your fingers. Do they have any relevance? And what is the relevance? She's really into unusual jewellery and noticed the bling, as she calls it, that you wear. I could take you through the dance. This one here is my Pavalia plague ring. Oh, you're not getting very good on me little pinky. It is the hood that they used to wear dealing with the plague. The next one along is the most famous one. It is my bond with my good lady. That I got for doing some work for a guy called Thomas Sabo in France. This one here I was given by a Harley Davidson Hells Angels crew for some work I did on stage for them. That one there is my Norwegian ring, because I'm an official ambassador for Hell in Norway. The nearest thing to pagan that we get is Celtic, so I've got a Celtic one. I have a Buddhist one on my pinky. This is the evil inside me that I am trying to exorcise. That's another one that I got from a group of bikers for a show I did for them, and that's just happens to be a ram, just to make the set. So you could say that was me when I was younger. Anyway, so everything's got a reason, everything's got a point. Then not particularly... if you chop all my fingers off for them, you'll not get a whole host of money for them, but I like them. 0191 488 3188. And they also had, any plans to do ghost hunts from Edinburgh? The Royal Mile, Cowgate and surrounding areas are renowned for being haunted. Would be nice to go out the northeast area for a summer special. Chris and Iona in Edinburgh. Well, we already have. We did a week going from east to west through castles, and we went to Edinburgh. We did shows live from the old town this time. Then we went across, we did Glasgow, all the castles inside, Hermitage Castle, Closeburn Castle, stayed overnight. We did a whole 5 days of travel across Scotland, and we'd love to do some more of that. So we'll be happily doing it, first chance we get. But let's move on to Stanley Elvis, who's in, well, you never guess. Stanley, hello, Elvis.
Hi, how are you doing, all right?
I'm good, mate. What can we do for you?
Right. Long story short, I'm going to keep this brief because I'm tired and I'm a bit stressed.
Okay.
I've got a full PA system that after my illness last year, I accumulated quite a bit of money with not being able to go anywhere.
Right.
And tried, ended up in hospital with a COVID and pneumonia as well. So I came out, started getting a bit better, and it was kind of a blessing in disguise. And I'll come to my point in a minute.
Okay.
It's kind of a blessing in disguise because I'm not the world's best at saving any money. And so while I was ill on the other side, I was able to save a bit of money without going anywhere, and that's how I bought my sound system. Unfortunately, bottom line is I'm going to be very blunt about this. I'm never going to be able to drive again. I've got a sound system there, full PA, that's not a mark or a scratch on it.
Right.
It's still under warranty. It's never been at the bloody house. I paid 645 quid for it. I'm putting a lot up for 250 quid. I just want it out of the house.
Right.
There isn't any problem with my neighbours or anything like that because I've been in this house 22 years now.
Right.
I'm flogging the cheapness. It's still under warranty. They can see the warranty.
So what is it? Talk us through what is there, because it's £645 worth. You want 250 quid for it. What's there?
250 quid. I've got a pair of Wartail speakers. Now, Wartail speakers are a very decent sound.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not as good as the RCFs or other makes, but they're a very decent sound.
Right.
I paid 300 quid for them new. The active speakers, they're not passive. They're active.
Uh-huh.
Which basically means it's got the amps in where the passive ones haven't.
Right.
I've got a Yamaha what the heck is it? I've got a Yamaha MG10 XUF mixer, and that was almost 225 quid just for the mixer.
Right.
And I've also got a Shure SM58 mic, and they're a very, very good mic, the SM58s, with the lead, and that was the best part of 100 quid. That was about 93, 94 quid.
Right.
So I'm just asking 250 quid for the lot. I give up. I'm never going to be able to use it in the club circuit. So I thought I might just sell it. Might as well just sell it and just sell it at the loss, basically.
Okay, so if anybody's interested, Wharfdale speakers worth 300, Yamaha mixer and a Shure mic worth roughly £645. He's looking for 250. If you are interested, give us a ring and we'll hook you up. We'll see what happens, mate. Thank you for calling in, Elvis. All the best.
Right,
Thanks, mate. Well, I'm sounding very stressed as well. So help him out if you can. Let's go to Edwin. He's in Gateshead. Hello, Edwin.
Hello, Alan. How are you doing, mate?
I'm all right, man. What are you talking about tonight, then?
A few things. I'd like to wish Louise all the best for our flower shop on Monday when I do open.
Yeah, brilliant.
That's good news, isn't it? That's nice for the day. That was brilliant, huh?
Tremendous.
Just a few things. There's a concert on I think it's next Sunday, Shalimore. If anybody's interested, it's Ben's Park in South Shields.
That'll be a night to remember.
I will be down there next week.
That'll make you feel good.
The first concert I went to was at Gateshead Stadium.
Right.
It was again a Scottish band. Jim Kersey and what's he called?
Simple Minds.
Simple Minds. It was a good deal actually. It was 20 quid for the ticket.
Wow.
And there was 4 bands on. There was Simple Minds. I think the support act was the Stranglers. OMD and Roachford was on, and it was a good deal for 20 quid. It was a great deal. Like.
Sounds great.
Strangest things. It was the last I was down with years ago. Our mother didn't have a washing machine, and she used to. Our father used to wash all the stuff at work, take all the stuff in the work, and wash the work, which I thought was a bit strange. But that was his job. But I thought that was a bit strange. She pinched a towel once from the hospital. I thought, oh, that's nice. She must be washing it. I thought, that man, she's got a washing machine. I thought, what else should he do with that, you know?
Yeah.
So it was a bit strange, like. But the one thing I was wanting to ring about was my son's working at can't see where he's working.
If you like, yeah, sure.
He works for CWS at Berkeley, the Co-op Wholesale Society of Berkeley.
Yeah.
Matthew, and he's having trouble with the shift he's on. He's trying to get on the day shift. He's on constant back shift, and he'd always do overtime. And I said the reason why they'll probably not change it because the other lads are refusing to do it. And he says, it wouldn't be mind if it was rotated, but when he's gone in the office to complain about it, I say, no, you're not hitting your targets. He says, I am hitting my targets, but they're deliberately messing about with it, so I'll stay on the shift and I'll not get on day shift, because other lads will not do the shift, I do the overtime that he'll do.
No.
He does it on overtime, guns in on overtime for them and everything, you know.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is when it comes to stuff like that, there's loads of rumours kicking around, and nobody really knows. Everybody seems to think, oh, well, it'll be this and it'll be that. Yeah, the way that I'm sitting, all I hear is he's on the back shift, he wants to work the other. It's not up to him who puts the shift patterns together. That's the bottom line. He can push for it and ask for it and chase it, but ultimately it'll be his foreman that makes the decision. It's not something that he's got a right to. You know, nowadays there's so many people looking for work. I'd just be an ounce careful. And I'm sure the Co-op Society, it's got an amazing reputation over the years. I'm sure they wouldn't get rid of somebody that's working as hard as him.
Well, he does. The president, how said,
well, there you go.
Really well, you know, he's doing really well. I mean, he was leaving late when other lads were leaving early, and one of the lads in charge noticed this, and he called him up and he said, "I've noticed you're the last one to leave." He said it hasn't went unnoticed, but he said if something comes up permanent, I'll let you know when something comes up. But he said he's keep looking for jobs in there that are coming up, internal vacancies, but now it's come up yet. But I says, well, try writing to the head office, but like you see, it's up to people who do this.
It's up to people that's there, and you've also got to remember, because it's the way that it is at the present moment for jobs, you know, where companies are going to the wall, left, right and centre. People who have got work are clinging onto it tight. So I think things will free up a little bit further down the line for him, and I'm sure if he's working hard the way that you're saying, I've got no reason to doubt you, he will get there. But you've just got to remember, 9 times out of 10, somebody either has to leave for you to get their slot these days. It's not like, there's loads of opportunities for you. Everybody's clinging tight. Nobody wants to change what they do because we're creatures of habit at the best of times. I just think it'll come. But when it comes to stirring the pot, you've got to be an ounce careful because nowadays there's an awful long queue waiting for your job.
He loves the job, Alan. He loves the job. He just says there's no, when you're starting, if he guns anyway, he's going to be back for 2 o'clock for the 2 o'clock start. When he finishes like 10 o'clock, there's no day at the end of the day. So he's stuck in the middle of the day. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the nurses. There's been on the news about it. What do you think about that then, about the pay rise again? I think it's shocking.
They've been offered a whole %.
Oh, God.
Can you believe it? And I know they're fighting for 15. They'll never get it because Britain's got no money at the moment because of everything that's gone on. But blame me, they deserve it. And it baffles me that we've had a year and a half of people applauding, bigging up, commending, and it all stands for nothing because the government don't rate them enough to be worth a pay rise.
I think if it was privatised, it would do everything, wouldn't it? Because it's not privatised, they cannot make any money from it, so they're not bothered.
Yeah.
I think that's the bottom line, really. And I mean, even the health minister, what he said, it's always about being in control. The MCN thing, just do that in the limelight all the time. They're constantly got to be in the limelight. I didn't like the one that's in charge now as much as I didn't like Matt Hancock. I didn't like the one that's in charge now. He just looks just as sly as what the other one was, really.
I don't trust any politicians of any party at the best of times. But what's happened over the last year or so just defy. I mean, you couldn't write it in a book. If we'd have written a story like that 2 years ago, everybody would have went, "Well, that's a pile. That'll never happen." And it all happened, of course. So there you go.
Yes, it did.
Hey,
I want them to get what the politicians want with it. Well, I didn't have it shown. Just what I heard, I think they were getting paid 40% or something. Some ridiculous pay rise.
They've had because think about it. If you could pick how much pay rise you got, it wouldn't be a percent, would it?
Well, I work for myself. I'm a cleaner. I work for myself. But I mean, I'm only working part time with what's happening in the minute. But I'm happy doing that. But for them, I've never worked for NHS, but I know they work hard. I think it's a disgrace. I mean, even the police, they've never even get the pay rise. And what they've got to go and do. I mean, I don't know what was then, the war lasts flat at the minute, but you hear them flying past Yana and they're really bombing the run. You know, it's worrying what they've got to get, what they've got to do as well. It's disgraceful the way they're treated, I think, like. But I would like to see a change of government, me, like. I would love to see a change of government.
Well, who knows? Who knows what the future has in store?
One other thing about I watched a program tonight about murders or something with people that kill people and that.
Yeah.
And we also talked about before. She says, why didn't they, when people are born, take their DNA right from when they're born, and then when these things happen, they've got everything on record. So if anything happens, you can catch these people earlier rather than waiting for trying. For the catch these people, it takes a while sometimes if they haven't got their DNA, which I think would be a good thing, really. Because some of these people, well, read this one tonight, I was watching it. I wouldn't normally watch stuff like that. But he was sick, like, he was really sick. He was cutting the ankles up. He had a fetish for boots or something. He was up ahead, like, he wasn't out there. You can see he wasn't a full ticket. But when we're interviewing him, they says, well, to let you, would you do it again? He quietly, like, never said anything, but nodded. He didn't say, well, he would do it again. I thought, well, what's the point? You might as well just get rid of him. What's the point in keeping somebody like that?
Right. Well, the prisons are full of those kind of people, unfortunately. The bottom line with it is you will find that the people who don't want the jab for the vaccine, many of them will say, I don't want my DNA taken because it's my human rights and da-di-da. So there's a big freedom issue there. Because what you're saying is, if you do anything wrong, we'll be able to catch you. Now, we might not plan to do anything wrong, but you might do something wrong somewhere, and do you want to go to prison for it, or do you want to keep your DNA to yourself? I think if you've got nothing to hide, you would think, well, go ahead. And a proportion of the population would say, yes, let's do it. And everybody that's got a hint of naughty in them will say, well, better not. So you'll be in the same position as you are now. You know how the government want everybody to get the double injection and they're not? Well, it would be the same if you demanded that everybody give their DNA up. But it's interesting, and you're quite right. If we had everybody's DNA, then crime, technically, should fall completely, and it would be interesting.
Yeah, well, we'll make our own laws apparently now, though, can't we? So we're not governed by us at Brussels now. So
They're making it up as they go along, pretty much. But hey,
I wish you all the best, though, mate. When I'm just hoping and praying one day you get your own radio show, because it's well earned, like.
Well, bless you, man. Thanks for coming on. There's Edwin from Gateshead, and it's not like I haven't had one for 40 odd years. Things will be what they'll be, and you rise and fall with them. That's how it works. Brian from Gateshead is knocking on the door. Hello, Brian.
Hi, Alan. I've got a few things to talk about, and I've got a silly joke at the end.
Champion, let's have them then.
Right, first of all, I've been, obviously you're not on the air on a regular basis at the minute, so I've been listening to some of the old classic radio, like midnight, well, not midnight, but classic radio late night phone-in shows around the country and that. Have you heard of a guy called Alan Bezic before?
Yeah, but I took over from him.
All right, well, I've been listening to some of his phone-in shows when he's been on the stations no longer there now. Red Rose Radio, Red Rose Radio in Lancashire.
Yeah.
Honestly, Alan, you're lucky if you get 20. You're lucky if you get 45 seconds on his show, because he just cuts people off all the time and he gets quite aggressive with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's also a bit of like a shock jock. He calls people bloody pillocks and cuts them off. And I just think, to me, that really isn't probably the best way to do a proper talk show, because obviously you learn a lot from callers, don't you, when they ring in?
Yeah, the thing was, and I've got a lot of time for Alan Bezic. He's a good lad, underneath it all, and you don't have to like what he does, but his style was the style that I was asked to follow, because they say, and again, it was a massive, I'm not going to name the person, but it was somebody who was massive in the industry that said, if you work on a talk show, you've got to be unpleasant with people, you've got to cut them short, you've got to generate fights on air, and you don't. But that's what they thought back then. It was an old-fashioned idea. A guy called James Whale started it ages ago, that just treat people like dirt and have your favourites and stuff. And when I took over from him, there was a book, and it was a list of like 400 or 500 people that he refused to have on the show because they.
Who's this, Alan?
James Whale.
Oh, right, yeah.
And just a whole batch of people that he refused to have on air. And when I asked his producer why that was the case, he says, because they got the better of him, so he doesn't want them back on the show again. Now, I'm sorry, if somebody gets the better of me, well done. I don't mind. I mean, because there's cleverer people than me. There's some people that aren't as clever. There's some people that are cleverer. And that's the way that it is in life for everybody. So we should learn from the people that know more than us and find out what they've got to say. You don't just say, well, you're a bright so-and-so, click. And then everybody gets offended and comes on and says, why did you do that? Click, there's another one. Oh, I've got to listen to this. Well, it's interesting for a night, but if you do it every night, 6 nights a week, hell's teeth, that's just...
Yeah, it is. I mean, he is quite funny, do you know what I mean? Don't get me, he is quite an intelligent guy. I mean, when he gets a couple of callers that come in, he doesn't like money backs, apparently, but he's always said that's people from Liverpool and that, you know. But the other guy, Pete Price as well, he's almost the same, you know, he shouts at people and all that, and he gets really, like, I'm thinking, it's a radio show, mate, you know what I mean? Just keep people nice, you know what I mean? He's like shouting and screaming, but it's quite refreshing to hear something quite bizarre and quite different. So I'm just glad that you give people an opportunity, Alan, and a chance to come on air, say the thing, and if you don't agree with them, you don't cut them off. Obviously, you don't want people swearing on your station, because obviously you don't want that. So,
I mean,
you know what I mean?
To be honest, I've had loads of fights. I've had loads of things that people have described as shouting matches. I'll not be shouting, but we've had a lot of people shouting at me and calling me this and calling me that. And if they want to come on and have a go, that's fine. I'm tried and tested with that regard, and I don't mind it. It's just you learn a lot more from people if you listen to them rather than force them to listen
Did
to
you once see, Alan, that when you interviewed some rock stars, someone actually busted your nose open for you once? Who did that to you?
I've had broken ribs from Motorhead. We had a big fight with Venom where they destroyed the studio. I've had a few fights. I've had 3 or 4 major fights with fellow presenters for one reason or another.
Right.
There's tales to be told that while I'm still in the same building, I'm not going to mention. But once I'm out, I'll let them loose.
Yeah, I know you're from music, Alan's right, rock music, but do you like the 80s music? I mean, at the minute, I'm into the 80s right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to Paul Young, the Style Council, Howard Jones.
They're all great.
There's loads of like Culture Club, Thompson Twins. I'm just loving like all the 80s stuff at the minute. I've just been listening to a whole load of old stuff. Do you know what I mean?
No, they're all tremendous. We once had Howard Jones in the studio with his keyboard, and when callers rang in, he played a little song to each one of them. It was brilliant. We've had most of the stars. Paul Weller's been on dozens of times.
Yeah, I know you've had a few different stars come on. Then you did them special shows on your station where you have like you had Phil Collins on. You did all his stuff once.
That's right.
And it's really good stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we try.
Before I go, do you know that? Do you know Chesney Hawkes, Alan? Right, I know you know him quite well. You ever seen that woman, that French woman? Not French, she's German. Ursula von der Leyen, is it? The European Union woman. Have you seen a photograph of her? Honest to God, she's a double of Chesney Hawkes.
She is.
She's got the glasses and the long hair as well.
Perfect.
Yeah. Just before I go on, can I do my joke?
Go on.
Okay. What's 5.5 feet yellow and eats? What's 5.5 feet yellow and lives off dead beetles?
Oh no, you're not even saying that in fun. Trust me, that you're not going there. 0191 488 3188. That breaks so many rules of race and good taste. But anyway, let's move on. 0191. Fortunately, at least I've heard all of the jokes. That one, no. 0191 488 3188. Whatever you want to talk about, do that. It is time for me to talk to another. We talk about superstars. The stars come out at night. Meatloaf, talking about all things ghostified. What about ghosts? I gather you did a little bit of talking to the dead for a while. That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, I'm gone ghost hunting on Sci-Fi Channel in the States.
Right.
Oh, I've seen one in this hotel that I'm in right now, the Landmark.
Really? What was it?
In London. Yeah, it was. There's 2 types of hauntings, and I know everybody's going to think I'm nuts, but
not at all.
But that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, everybody has seen a ghost, whether they know it or not.
Right.
But it was about 6:00 in the morning, and he came. I assume he came through the wall, because I didn't see him till he was about at the foot of the bed.
Right.
And I said something to him, and he didn't look at me, and he just kept going and went through the wall, which meant that was a residual haunting.
Right.
Which meant that he does that over and over and over again.
Right.
And he wasn't intelligent, because if he'd have been intelligent, he would have
responded to you.
Turned.
Yeah.
He would have done something and looked at me.
Right.
And I remember there's a hotel in Scotland that Bon Jovi and the boys checked out of, and they said to me, "Oh, whatever you do, don't go to this hotel. It's haunted."
Right.
So the first thing I did was tell the room manager, "Put us in this hotel."
I bet.
And I want the room John Bon Jovi was in.
Right.
And I would do